that a RoboCop
It's
mug?
a it's a RoboCup.
That is outstanding. That's awesome. Did you play the recent RoboCop game?
Not yet. I did see some stuff on it that does look pretty cool. I'll be giving it a go eventually. I haven't played much for obvious reasons.
Yeah,
Too busy working on my own stuff.
yeah, yeah. I saw it as well. I haven't gotten around to it, but not for development purposes, just because I haven't gotten around to it. But yeah,
No.
it's cool because like growing up, my brother he got me in on a lot of those movies and TV shows. Like RoboCop when you're a kid, probably shouldn't be watching it. It's pretty aggressive.
Especially that one scene where the guy goes into the tank with the radioactive stuff, and I remember
The
watching that as a kid, and
Yeah, the whole thing is just insane. But I was because my brother's older, so he was always watching it, so I'd watch it with him, and it was like that Chucky, the Halloween films. But he wouldn't watch it like during October. That was just on rotation every day. Like every day, rotation is in there, and then he would play Resident Evil. It was like just Resident Evil playthroughs. Like that's all I watched was Resident Evil playthroughs, the Halloween films, RoboCop, Chucky, and it was like,
it's toughening you up. It's toughening you up.
yeah, it did something. It definitely did something. But but yeah.
I mean,
So I'm
people going like, "Oh no, these video games are so violent." Do you remember the stuff we used to
yeah.
watch?
Oh my god. Especially so I was born in 91, but in the 80s it's even freakier because the special effects lower quality, but they made that stuff.
Going back to RoboCop, the squibs. They
Yeah,
went all out with the squib. That scene right at the beginning where the Yet 209 completely fusilates the executive, and I saw that scene, the uncut version on TV.
that's yeah.
They just played that here.
That's what's insane about it is growing up, you had all those movies where again, the older ones are scarier to me. Like when you watch stuff now, it's overproduced. The special effects are, it's so good, but it separates you from it. It does a really good job of completely separating you from the
Hmm.
absurdness of it.
Also, it's a bit more formulaic, if that makes any sense. Like
We've been
to
hardened.
also
Like,
to an extent things were a bit more or a lot more experimental back then, so you didn't knew as well what to expect. Now you just, oh, here's a jump scare.
yep,
Here's another one.
yep,
Okay, yeah, here you go. Here's the violin going. Okay,
yep,
yeah. Here's the funny face appearing on screen. Okay, got it. Oh,
yeah.
here's the credits. Okay, off I go.
It's become more like just patterns to figure out.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this is what's going to get people going, and for it, this is what. So they're giving you an experience that's just a replay of other experiences that you've had in the past with
Also
just
a lot of
different
also a lot
characters.
of it's just for the trailer.
Yeah, well, that's the sad part, but yeah, 100%. Wasn't it like Batman? Uh, Batman with Heath Ledger, that one where
Oh,
like they had.
the one with the Joker. Yeah, the Dark. Was just Dark Knight. No,
I think it was The
it
Dark
was
Knight.
Dark Knight Begin. It was Batman Begins was the first one of those three.
Maybe
Was it just the Dark
I'm gonna
Knight?
have.
Batman the
I
Dark
think it's
Knight.
The Dark Knight. It's
It
not
was the
Arkham
one with
Knight
the,
because that was the game.
yeah. Those are that was the games.
Yeah, it was The Dark Knight. It was
Oh,
Batman: The
okay.
Dark Knight. Yep,
So
two
what? So
thousand
the
eight.
third one was what? The Dark Knight Rises? No, something like that. Been years.
Yeah, it's been a while. That's why I like the simplicity of the last one from now 2 years ago. Just
Oh,
the
I
Batman.
have not seen that yet. I've heard it's fine.
I really enjoyed it.
Robert
Like
Pattinson does a
yeah,
surprisingly good job.
that was one when I heard he was going to be Batman. I was like, dud.
Oh,
We're already
everyone
starting out
thought
with
that.
dud.
Come on, like the
Yeah.
Twilight Kid. Yeah, every.
Yep.
However, you know what? Who else people thought the exact same thing? Heath Ledger.
That's true, and it's so
And
weird because he
then
did so good. And the same thing with again, Robert Pattinson did. I mean, for what he was doing, he did a great job. Like he made it his own.
I mean, I did
Um,
hear before this was even out, I did hear that he was a good actor, and he just ended up in the Twilight movies because it's a
yeah,
paycheck.
yeah,
Same with Kristen Stewart and a lot of others who were involved with that.
yeah.
But
I could
from
see
what
that.
I haven't seen the movie yet. I hear it's pretty good in general, and he does quite well.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to take a look eventually.
I saw it in theaters, and like on the walk out, I was like, "Holy shit! All right, solid." I wasn't expecting that at all. I went to one of the theaters where they do let you drink, so I had a couple of beers just going in. I was like, "I'll watch this Twilight Batman film. I'll have a couple of light beers. Let's just get
You're
through it."
gonna look at Batman sparkling.
Yeah, let's just get through this. Call it a
what I
night.
what I did hear is that the movie's a bit too long.
I
That's
don't.
like,
I didn't get that feeling.
mm,
Well, but I was really just enjoying it more so for the difference. Like it was a different spin on it, a different vibe, and it was more of a. I don't know. Like so, I'll give you an example that I personally have issues with, like the Star Wars films, where like let's say a parent dies, like a
mm,
family, like mom's dead. Oh no. Next scene.
again.
Wait, so it's like mom's dead. Now the next scene, they're on a spaceship laughing about like the next adventure that they're about to go on.
They're
It's like
coping.
what do we do? Your family member just died. Like what are we're just gonna skip the next scene, like, all right, sweet, let's go save the world. What are we doing? Like there's no
Yeah.
emotional connection. There's nothing there to give you a feeling of like putting yourself in their shoes. There's no alignment at all. It's
We
just
gotta we gotta keep the hero's journey going.
got to keep it moving.
We just gotta keep that moving.
There's no
There's no
time,
time to be moping.
no time for depression. Like I want, like, give me full blown depression,
Give me
depression
the five
naps.
stages. Give me the five
Yeah,
stage. The whole thing.
yeah. I want to see the
It
hero
makes
like
sense.
he's sleeping until 5 o'clock p.m. every day. He's still trying to get over. Everyone around him's like, all right, dude, it's been 3 months. He should be over it by now. How do we approach him? Give me the uncomfortable bits. Like, go deep, and then I can get in. But that's why I like about the Batman film. It's like he takes a little depression vibe action going, and it's like I get it. Like that's like he's going the route where his family's dead, and he's this billionaire type, and he wallows a little bit, and I'm about it.
Yeah. Even in the Batman's case as a whole, not just that specific interpretation, which still haven't seen, so I can't comment on it. But at least in the Batman's defense, the guy grew up. There's a years long
Yeah,
gap.
100%.
So if we see the scene where his parents die and then we see him as an adult,
Yep.
uh,
You don't have to
even
fill
if
in the gap.
even if they don't show it, okay, it's been long enough
Yeah.
that yeah he had enough time. Not that everybody just gets over it over that long,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
a lot of people do, and makes
100%.
sense. Makes sense if we then see it as an adult and okay, he's living.
And that, in part, is why the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man's the best one of all time. Toby wallowed. Toby wallowed. He was there. Uncle Ben. He's gone. He's not coming back. So be
He,
sad, Toby Maguire, about it.
I would say of the three. I haven't watched the last Spider-Man movie, the live action
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did see Spider-Verse. I haven't seen the one with the crossover with all three.
Yep. It's really good, by the
In
way.
retrospect, I did hear that.
Yeah.
I would say of the three, Tobey Maguire is the most memorable one. Yeah,
I know. It's
yeah.
insane, but it's true.
It has its flaws.
Oh,
Even back
yeah.
then,
Yeah.
let's be honest, that CGI didn't age that well. But
Yeah.
Andrew Garfield was like, it was like the shit for 15 minutes, and then everybody forgot about him.
He fit
And
the charm of the comic book Spider-Man, I
yeah,
think. He had
yeah,
like that charisma. He had that great charisma of a comic book version of Spider-Man. He fit that really well.
it fits well with the sarcastic side of Peter
Yeah.
Parker.
Yep.
That the snarky side. He
Yep.
does that a lot. And then Tom Holland, he's not bad, but I'm gonna have to agree with a friend of mine. He's too much of Tony Stark's child, if that makes any sense. He's too
Yeah.
tied
Yep.
to Tony Stark.
Yeah.
He's not enough of his own character
Yeah, that's a
in
good
the
way to put it.
MCU.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, that's again, Toby I could relate to more as well. When you look at him, he's just a dude.
Including the awkward teenage phase.
Yeah, 100%.
Including that one.
100%. Like that was a great casting. Does
Yeah.
not hold up. It does not hold up well. When you go back now and you watch it,
it does and it doesn't. If you go in expecting camp, you're good.
Yeah.
You go in expecting camp, you're good. If you expect to take it seriously, dude, walk away. Don't even try it.
Yep.
Especially with that Green Goblin. Nah, no, nope.
Oh my god.
Nope.
It's absurd. It makes me think of, for some reason, it makes me think of Burger King. I don't know why, but like just that movie in that era, it makes me think of Burger King. Maybe because back in the day, that's when that was their heyday. Burger King's heyday was it was the same overlap of that version of Spider-Man. But that's all I can think about is those two.
Is that because of the guy in the costume or something?
Honestly, that could
which was
be it
about
too.
as cheesy as what we had in those movies.
Yep. I mean, they did a Burger King game. It was Sneak King on Xbox Live Arcade. And again,
that was released physically.
That
was physical.
Yeah.
We had a box for that.
Yeah, it had a really thin box that
I don't know. The game didn't come out here in Europe. But I do remember. But I do remember seeing photos of the case. Like,
yeah.
Assuming that wasn't anything fake or anything.
No, I
know of the game. The game was released in a physical format.
Yeah.
Maybe you had the sleep, but I do remember it was released in a full case too.
That whole era was an outstanding era that doesn't age well. That whole era of, I think it was early 2000s. You've got
it doesn't age well, but there was some heart to it.
Oh yeah,
it's kind of like the 80s. A lot of stuff. People try to have this rose-tinted glasses of the 80s. A lot of stuff from the 80s does not age well, and not everything is pink. There's a lot of brown. There's a whole lot of brown in there.
Yeah, yeah.
But again,
including hairstyles.
But the heart's in there.
Yes.
You go in expecting camp, you're gonna get it.
Yeah, 100%. But honestly, that kind of leads me to, in a way, because the creativity of the 80s and the 90s, I think that's where the heart comes from in a lot of respects, is that they didn't have the technological advancements or whatever that we have today. So you kind of see creativity falling a little bit to the wayside. But with the indie game space, it's kind of rampant to an extent. And which is what led me to reaching out to you, because I found your next game, Buck Up and Drive. Let me make sure I've got that correct. Buck Up and Drive, the sequel. Now, I do want to touch on Dunkehr.
That one
also insane in its own way. And because I love the puns and the memes and it's sprinkled throughout both games really well. But Buck Up and Drive is one where saw it on Twitter, retweeted from I want to give them their credit. 80 level, I think is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they made a tweet about that.
Yep. And it was the new edition of the wall ride feature in the sequel that you're currently working on.
Yeah.
The game is absurd. It's silly, and it's everything that I want. Just a little bit. It's everything that I want from indies. I've been working in the indie game space for 8 years, and this is why. Like the games like this is exactly why. Because when you have these games where every little bit of it, from it, just going back to the original, the billboards, the play on the names of the vehicles, um, you added in Truno from Initial D,
Yeah.
outstanding, and even to the achievements, anticipating that if someone's going to mute it or mute the music, they're going to put on Eurobeat for this. Like the anticipation of it, the
Or
short
something else,
description.
usually Eurobeat.
It's like creativity oozes from every bit of Buck Up and Drive and Dunkehr, where it's a play on Honey Badger.
Yeah.
Dunkehr.
Yay, someone got it. You wouldn't
I
believe
I
you wouldn't believe how many people look at that and they take a while.
well
They take a while to get it.
it took me a sec. Like it took me a sec until I said the name out loud. I was like, oh, all right, gotcha. Like there it is. And then when I started just watching gameplay of it, I was okay, 100%. Like I'm on board with it. But yeah, there's creativity with everything going on with these two projects that you've been working on. And I know Dunkehr is kind of paused at this moment. Um,
Yeah, mostly to help get the Buck Up and Drive 2. That's the proper name of it.
yep.
It's gonna be done sooner anyway, so might as well focus my efforts on that, and then I will go back to Dunkehr.
Yeah. So before I wanted to get into the granularities of both of these games, including the sequel, um, I just wanted to know more about your background and where it started because I see being an art you've been around for a while. Like this isn't something like I know Buck Up and Drive. Um, I believe that was 1 year, right? It was just 1 year in and out.
Yeah, it started as me doing some experiments with Game Maker, and
Yeah.
a year later, okay, I think this is good enough to release. I'll add some more stuff later.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, it was a 1 year. Don't care as a meant as a longer project, hence the pause. Before that, as you said, I've been working as an illustrator for mostly board games, uh, mostly for Level 99 games,
hmm
for games like Millennium Blades, Pixel Tactics, and they have a card-based fighting game called Exceed. It's the Exceed fighting system, and they have a box of that with Shovel Knight, and I did the art for that.
Okay, nice. So that's what that was that your gateway into video game creation or video game development?
Uh, More like I've wanted to work on video games for a long time, mostly on the art side of things. It's
hmm
where I come from. Uh, at some point, I decided, you know what? Let me roll up the sleeves, open Game Maker, and see if I can make something. And it just rolled up. Don't Care started as me experimenting with a off side scroller tutorial and just adding stuff. And Buck Up and Drive started with me uh, watching a few videos on super scalar games on Sega arcades, and like
hmm
I could probably do something like this. It doesn't look too complicated. And then I found out, oh wait, Game Maker can do some 3D, and if you ask it nicely and sacrifice three goats, yeah, I instead of the sprite scaling thing, let's just try something, and it ended up with that load of bullshit you can, you can see on Steam.
I love it. Again, it being in marketing. One of the things of the many things I love about it is when you see it in a feed. Um, Speaking of Buck Up and Drive, um, that game in motion, uh, it just stands out because it's not just drifting. When you're just scrolling through a feed and you're looking and you see games pop up, and you put yourself in the shoes of a content creator, an influencer, or even someone in the media. If they're just scrolling through and they're looking at, or they may even be actively looking for projects to, follow. When you see a car do a kickflip and then grind on a rail, basically, you're gonna stop for a moment and be like, "What the hell was that?"
It's
at
okay.
the very
I
least.
still go like that every now and then.
Yeah, and it's perfect. Like that's it's a little fever dreamish, and and that's that and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Because then you get into it, and the deeper you go, there's more layers. And there's a fighting mode with the cars.
Not on the sequel yet. I still have to work on that, but yeah, it's actually you on the sequel. The main menu is a little garage thing you get to walk around.
Okay,
And I already have the arcade cabinet for that mode set up.
that's awesome. And so the garage is that like I'm trying to think of the game. It was on the original Xbox, and they had it bundled with Jet Set Radio Future at one point. It was a racing game,
With
not
Jet Set,
Forza.
with Jet Set Radio,
It
that's
was a
from
combo
Sega.
pack.
Maybe it's
Yeah, it was
Crazy
a
Taxi, but
Sega. It was
maybe it
not
was
Crazy
Crazy.
Taxi.
No, or
It
maybe some
was
Sega Rally stuff. I don't know.
it was a very.
What else do they have?
I wish I could remember the game because I remember buying the combo for Jet Set Radio, and then I ended up playing the racing game more because it was such a fun. Like you could sell your game on Craig's, or you could sell your car on Craigslist, and then buy like their version of Craigslist, and then you could go buy another car, used vehicle, locally, and then buy all these different aftermarket parts for it. And it was a very thrifty process of
Huh,
you know.
that seems interesting.
Oh, it was really cool. It was
The fact that it has its
arcadey.
own market and stuff
Yep.
that sounds cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just going the traditional route of hey, you unlock this, have fun.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
what I like. No, Project Gotham Racing had that. So I was imagining walking around the garage, and there was a game I played that had that feature where you. Now the game that I played that had the feature, it was like in this luxury mansion, and you're in your massive garage with your Ferraris and McLarens, and you're walking around. But it had arcade cabinets in the garage too.
Nice.
Because if you're a billionaire overlooking Italy with your Ferraris and Lamborghinis and whatnot, you're also going to have an arcade cabinet or two in the back. But I think it was Project Gotham Racing on Xbox that had that feature. But regardless, um, that's cool that you're adding that to the sequel, having your own garage, having the
Yeah.
arcade cabinet to potentially have the new fighting or bringing over the fighting mode. Because that mode was it's another example of with this particular game where the silliness just doesn't end. And the more and it's something that rewards people that like that kind of silliness because then when you start playing and exploring it and then finding new modes, holy shit, there's a Street Fighter mode. Like it's just you're layering on top, which is outstanding, you know.
Yeah, I remember I was in the shower thinking of ways to pad out the game, and wait a minute, if I take a player object and another player object and I make them go boom, 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 boom,
Yep.
boom, fighting, and I had a rudimentary version of that working over the weekend.
It's again, it's great and it's kind of what I like out of indies and what I'd like to see more of indies do. Because what I've seen a lot of them do is, all right, I like game A from AAA Studio A. I'm gonna make B. Basically, I'm gonna make my version of video game A from AAA Studio. I'm gonna take my crack at it. At like, I'm gonna take my crack at Dark Souls as an indie. It's like, okay, I get why you're doing that. That's cool. You're not going to make anything close to that. And it's not going to be a situation where people that love Dark Souls or From Software games are going to then be like, oh, this is kind of like that. I'm going to buy that too. No, they're going to say, I'm going to replay Dark Souls 3 or Elden Ring. Why would I play that version that's going to be not as good? Um,
Yeah,
it's kind of where a lot of them are going to go. Um,
yeah, that's a problem. What I did was I got inspired by mostly by Outrun and the
mhm.
like. And instead of having a crack, I added the crack. I then
Yes.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
literally. Yeah.
I added the crack, and that's what I ended up with. And
Yeah.
yeah, the I remember the first game. It's the thing you mentioned with scrolling on Twitter and the like.
Mhm.
At first, it was kind of an outrun like, and it had the Mario Kart like drift boosts,
Yep.
and for a good while that was about it. Then I figured out how to put, and at that point the cars were pre-rendered sprites,
Hmm.
and the camera angle is very fixed. If it moved too much, it would break the illusion, that kind of stuff. Uh, at some point, I figured out how to do the cell shading in real time, and I thought, wait, now that they're 3D models, I can do more with the car without having to add sprites. At some point, I added the guardrails,
Yep.
and that's where the bullshit started.
Yeah.
That's where the rail grinding started, and then I figured, hey, if they're on the rails, they do the air trick thingies. If I press them like this in a quarter circle motion, they can go back into the rails. Wait, I can use the quarter circle also for, okay, the car spins to attack the traffic now.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, and all this was before I added the cops.
It's
And
it's
I still have to add the cops to this one.
it's blending so much. It's like F-Zero. It's a little bit of Burnout. Like you
I just
can,
go, okay, what bullshit am I going to add today?
yeah. Honestly, it would be cool if you do manuals too. If you could link it together with manuals and the car just go, it just goes up on its back wheels and does a manual all the way through.
A manual?
Yeah, so like in it, you can look it up on like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. You can do a manual, which is so you're on your skateboard, you got all four wheels down. Manual is just going on the back two wheels and holding that steady, and you can use that to keep your combo going in between tricks. So you
Oh,
use a
oh,
manual.
because you're going on two wheels,
It's a
it's
trick
harder to
in and of
do.
itself, and you're
Yeah,
balancing. So then
yeah, yeah.
when you go up on your two wheels, then you have a balance meter that's going, and then you can use that to link into jumping on rails or going off the half pipe or jumps or whatever. And you use that manual was something that was introduced in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, I believe. Like in the original, it wasn't there, I don't think.
Hmm.
But then they did introduce it, and it allowed so many new combos to run that manual, hot jump from the manual onto a rail, and then jump back off to a manual, kickflip, and do whatever in between. It's this
You
whole new dimension of.
not that specifically, but you already have some stuff that now you have some. You have, for example, speed brake, which is if at first it feels like it goes against what the game's supposed to be, in
Yep.
which you just do a hard stop, but the car doing the hard stop does a little bit of a hop. Because of
Yeah.
that, you're technically in midair, so you can do tricks to get on the rails and keep going from there.
Yeah. I love it.
So not that one, not that specifically that you said, but you kind of already have some of that stuff where you can mix different types of maneuvers to do all sorts of crap,
Yeah.
or just
But it.
do boosts while you get on these new walls. You can get on the wall, then release a boost to stay on it for longer. And and now I don't know if you saw this on Twitter. I added wall jumping like
I
Mega Man
love it.
X,
I
like
love
in
it.
Mega Man X. And this
Yeah.
this allows me. I wasn't gonna do this at first. I was gonna do the walls as something that is hard to stay on,
Uh-huh.
but it's relatively safe if you can stay on it. Now
Yeah.
that I have wall jumping, I can just put obstacles on the walls. You figure it out.
Put a helicopter up there, and then you just slam into it. It explodes. Then you get a higher score for
That's good.
hitting the.
That's gonna be one of the bosses for the cops.
That's outstanding. I love it because
The
now
the
you're
way the
starting to just.
cops the way the cops spawn, they're gonna be a bit different. It's gonna be like you fight a few mooks, then a boss shows up, then you fight a few more mook. It has more of a beat 'em up flow to it,
Yeah.
and the bosses will just escalate and be dumber and dumber.
Now it's starting to tread on the Fast and Furious level of absurdity,
Funny you
where
mentioned that. One of the environments I have in mind is gonna have you hop across rooftops, kind of like in
yeah,
one of the more
yeah,
recent movies. Yeah, they weren't going through rooftops, but it's close enough.
yeah. Well, so that another reason why this idea is really good is that there are so many vehicle-based absurd scenes in films and TV shows that you can tap into for memes, tap into
Yeah.
just for fun. You can add in, very like again, you added in the 1986 Toyota Corolla hatchback.
Let's be honest, every indie's doing that now.
That is true.
I'm not the only one. That's
I
like,
know
that's
that.
like the go-to. In the first game, it was like the second car I added. The first one was the Ferrari Light because how
Yep.
outrun, but the second one like
Yep.
let's rip the band-aid. Yeah, here's the
Yep.
86. Like come on.
Yep. Here you go.
Yeah, like and this time around, on the first game, the cars were just reskins. Effectively, they all had the same bounding box. So people would ask me to add this car, that car. I'm like, they all use the same hitbox. I can't add a Mini Cooper. I'm sorry, or
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
lookalike, of course.
Yeah.
Now I'll be able to do that, and from there, since you will have a few more vehicle types. Uh, the thing you said about the memes, I could add some stuff that's going to remind you of those memes, depending on the type of vehicle. Maybe I could maybe I could find a way to do the thing where people there's gonna be bikes. Maybe I could do the thing where you're sliding to get under a truck or something like that.
Yes. Yes. There's so many
We'll
things you
see.
can do, and there's so many DLC opportunities too. You could do an entire Fast and Furious DLC and just call it something like slow and mundane. And in that DLC, you just have plays on all the vehicles, the iconic vehicles from it. As a DLC pack, you get those vehicles, and then you get a new stage, new boss, whatever that kind of
Yeah.
harps on
A
things
DLC
from the film.
update,
So
whichever.
many good,
Just that.
like
It's funny you mentioned that. In the first game, there's a vehicle called Van Diesel.
again, that's what I'm talking about.
I don't know if you ever had the chance to gaze upon the glory that is Van Diesel.
No, I haven't. I haven't.
Good, you probably shouldn't.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna pull it up really quick.
Just Google Buck Up and Drive Van Diesel. You're probably gonna run into something.
Yeah, these are all the things that I love about this space in one game. Oh, whoops! I put it in Google and it's like, did you mean Vin Diesel? No,
Van Diesel.
no, I spelt it correctly. Come on, Google, hook me up here. I've got Buck Up and Drive screenshots, but I'm not getting Van Diesel, unfortunately. Is there a McLaren? It looks like a McLaren P1 in Buck Up and Drive. It's a screenshot from someone's gameplay. That might not be. Nope.
Oh, it's probably the one that inspired by Lambos.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I'm not looking that, and okay, I can see the resemblance.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Looks like a rounder version of what a Lambo would be. Those are usually a bit more geometrical.
I see Pepsi. I'm looking at artwork now. I'm just going down a rabbit hole of all the stuff that's. I'm looking at artwork.
Are you looking at the Steam community?
I'm now looking at the Steam community, and
you should see it in screenshots then.
Okay, let me go to screenshots. I love that you can just go to the moon.
The fucking moon.
Yep. It's outstanding.
I think that was the first of the weird areas that I added. Yeah.
I'm seeing some pretty absurd vehicles popping up here with skins that are equally outstanding.
Oh, the custom decals.
Yeah.
People have been having fun with that.
That is. Oh, I found Van Diesel. That is crazy.
And it's funny, that design started as an artwork for one of the board games I worked on. And I was like, come on, I gotta have this in the game. I gotta put this in the game. Come on.
So there's a movie, there's a film, Maximum Overdrive. That's what that reminds me of.
Is that the one with the truck?
Yes.
It's one of those that I remember seeing on TV on a Saturday afternoon when I was a kid, and now I remember it exists.
Yes.
It's one of those.
1986, Stephen King.
Oh
Um,
crap! That's as old as I am.
I
I'm also from '86.
so I think this movie, yeah. So that's what Van Diesel reminds me of a little bit. With the guy, instead of the goblin face on the truck, it is
Hmm.
Vin Diesel's face, which is equally scary or frightening, rather,
Yeah.
on
Or
this truck.
Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yes, yes,
Speaking of which, there is a train in the first game. It was part of the last update. Like it's the last update. Let's just add all the stupid. Let's go full stupid.
yep. I see that. As you're bringing that up, I'm just scrolling through the screenshots in the community, and that one was brought up.
And
These
there's the
are
train.
yep, and there's the train. Yeah. So with Buck Up and Drive, because that wasn't the first game that you were working on. You were working on Dunkehr.
Yeah. Uh,
So as a solo developer, um, at what point did you decide that it was okay to take that break and switch over to or add to your already existing project and work on a second project? And at what point did you decide I'm going to finish this one first, um, versus the other one?
okay. So the first Buck Up and Drive, I was working on Dunkehr at the time, and and figured, hey, I'm doing these experiments with 3D, and it's looking like something, and it's getting more reception on Twitter. So might as it's a smaller project, and it was. So let's do this as well on the side, see where it goes. And it completely overshadowed Don't Care for popularity. Uh, as for working on the sequel, it was mostly the same thing. There was a weekend where I'm like, let's make a 3D model of the dummies that show up on the first game when you bonk on traffic and the dummies pop out. In this one, you're gonna have a customizable dummy as a driver. Um, and I made that 3D model and let's put it on the edge and see how it looks. And then it started to get more reception on social media versus Don't Care,
Yep.
which let's be honest, it does look cool and all, but it's not as out there of a project as the bullshit that is Buck Up and Drive. Um, so I figured, you know what, Don't Care has a bigger scope by default. I'm gonna put this. This was a recent decision, like a few weeks,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a little bit more than that. Still recent, still within that ballpark. I decided I'm gonna put this on hold because it's a project with a bigger scope by default, and I don't want to be like 5 or 6 years without releasing anything.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put this on ice. I'm gonna work on Buck Up and Drive 2, release that, and once I go back to Dunker, I'm gonna reevaluate it's the way it's structured and maybe focus on something that I can release quicker, and then add the rest through updates and see
Yep.
how that goes. And for now, I'm working fully on Buck Up and Drive 2, which
Gotcha.
it's being well received already. At least
Yeah,
people are
I saw
looking at it.
Destructoid picked it up as well.
Yeah,
Um,
they reviewed the same person who made that article reviewed the first game.
awesome, awesome. Yeah, that's something like there's a clear indicator of like this is something that is highly marketable. When if you're not even making official announcements, you're just going about posting on social media. Here's some updates. Here's the new logo. Now we can do wall rides, and then other people coming out and be like, "Wait, what? What was that?" Is that now wall? We're doing wall rides in this now.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just making this shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just making this shit.
Yeah. And so now, so this is the type of, I think you're doing the right in sensible thing. And, when you have a game that, you've been working on for a while, but the scope is much larger, and you have this other game that is giving you clear indicators that there's demand. There's going to be demand for it.
Yeah.
To kind of shift the focus a little bit and work on the absurd game and kind of get back to the other one as time
it's
goes
not
by.
it's not an ideal solution, especially since there were people paying attention to Dunkehr, but it was not an ideal situation to begin with.
Yeah.
So I had to make a call.
So with Buck Up and Drive 2, have you thought of potentially bringing more people on to help speed up development, or have you thought about approaching publishers, or you totally focused on keeping this indie?
I would like to remain solo, and I will only bring someone in if it's something I know I cannot do.
Okay.
For example, not necessarily with Buck Up and Drive, but a project where diverse voice acting is necessary.
Yep.
I can do some voices, but no.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to. I would have to bring someone in that scenario.
Sure.
But I would rather stay solo. It's mostly I get to do whatever the crap I want.
Yeah. Could you expand on that? Because that is a unique approach that I don't see a lot of developers. I would say, from what I've experienced, many, they want to always get their game going, bring in a team, get in front of a publisher, receive funding, grow the team, and then deliver the product. Now, you staying focused on, I'm going to handle this, I want to do what I want to do, but being focused on that, or deliberate rather, is a very unique approach, and I think, expanding on that could be interesting.
Yeah. I've done it once. The first game's on Steam and Itch. I can do it.
Yep.
I can do it again. It's that simple.
Yeah.
And this time I don't have an engine that requires me to sacrifice 3 goats and a baby to see a polygon on screen.
So you were working in Game Maker,
Game Maker,
right?
yeah.
Game Maker, and now what are you?
I'm on Godot.
Okay.
I dropped Game Maker because this was actually the timing for this was not the best. Shortly before the first game came out, was about to come out on Itch. I was going to do the Steam release later. Game Maker came out with, oh hey, so this has a subscription model now. You're gonna have to pay. You're gonna have to pay per month to use this now, and no, I like to own the stuff that I'm using. I'm gonna do some quicker updates on this, and I'm gonna use something else. And then I was already in the mindset that if I were to leave Game Maker for something else, it would probably be Godot, because it's free open source software. It's like there are no corporate interests tied to it, so the chance that something sketchy, like, I don't know, moving to subscriptions, the likelihood that that's going to happen is very, very low. I guess you are familiar with what Unity did recently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not going to happen with Godot.
Yeah. Yep. And they're also cutting jobs too. I believe it was a day or two ago.
Yeah, I saw the art. I saw someone share that on Discord. I'm like, again,
1,800 jobs.
I saw 4 digits.
Yeah,
I saw
insanity.
1,000 something. Like,
yep.
All because the shareholders want a third yacht or something.
Yep.
I don't know. That's basically it. Meanwhile, the people actually working, they just get. What's the color of the slip you get there?
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah, you get what I mean. It's the thing that says you're fired.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever that is. I remember in the US, you have an expression. It's like something color slip. whatever.
Well, they have a pink slip, but that is not
Yeah,
for
that's
that.
something else.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But yeah, yeah, it's unfortunate. But that transition from Game Maker to Godot, how was that? Was it seamless? I mean, was it
not seamless. I had to relearn some stuff. Obviously, different
sure?
engine, different. It's kind of like over a year ago, I moved from Windows to Linux. So
Yep.
of course, I had to relearn some things, and it's
Which
the
one
same
was
thing.
more difficult? Which was more difficult for you?
Actually, Godot.
Okay.
Moving from Game Maker to Godot,
Yep.
in part because a lot of what I was already using already had a native Linux version. For example, for the game engine, I'm using Godot. For 3D models, it's Blender. That it has a native Linux port. For illustration and stuff, I'm using Krita. That also has a native Linux port. And the drawing tablet actually does. I don't need to install. Didn't need to install any drivers or configuring anything. It just worked. Of course, this will depend which Linux distro you're using, but at least
Mm-hmm.
the Manjaro, the one I'm on.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Now you're probably going to get some angry comments from Arch users. I don't care. From music, what little there was in Backup and Drive, and on Dunkehr, I did that in LMMS, which also has a native Linux version. For sound effects, I can use BFXR, which is also a free program, and I can just do some Foley on Audacity or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
pretty much everything I have has a Linux port or an equivalent. So
yeah,
for me, it was pretty seamless.
and so with you being kind of handling everything, um, is there any aspect of creation that you still want to do, but you feel like you have the most room for improvement?
It's music. I'm not even gonna. I don't even need to spend time thinking about it.
Yeah.
Uh, Backup and Drive only has one track. Dunkehr has more than that, but there. I actually did the one music for Backup and Drive after I did the ones for Dunkehr. So
Okay.
there is some improvement there.
Yep.
I feel like there is an improvement, but I know there is still some improvement I need to go through, and I will be experimenting with some more with LMMS and see what I can do. I have an idea of what I already have some melodies in my head, and I just need to dump them into the piano roll and see if they don't sound too horrible.
Yeah. Yeah. So is this your full time solo dev
Yeah,
creator? This is it. This is
yeah,
outstanding. Like this is so for you to you're still doing commission illustrations.
yeah. Every now and then when they pop up, yeah,
Yeah.
I figured keeps the work days a little bit diverse. I'm not always doing the same thing. So sometimes I do like on weekdays I do game dev and on weekends I'm like, yeah, I got a commission or two to do. Let's get these done. I thought about streaming those, but I don't have the patience for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have a TikTok account, by the way? I was looking on.
Nah, I'm allergic to TikTok. Gonna be honest.
Yeah.
You go to you can go to my website if it's not there. I don't have it.
I saw like you have everything there. It was just the one that was kind of glaring that was missing was TikTok. And I was like, that's kind of
I,
crazy.
I'm allergic to portrait video.
Yeah. No, I
Uh,
understand. I totally get it. Like I personally, I don't like I don't use Facebook. I'm not as active on Twitter
Facebook.
as I should
I
be.
have Facebook because of my family. And that's about it.
Yeah. Well, I have it for
Also,
Marketplace, honestly.
yeah, and let's be honest, indie game development on the market's just not there. It's more like on Twitter, Tumblr a little bit. In fact, I only got Mastodon, Blue Sky, and Tumblr because of a certain guy who got involved with Twitter. I think some people know about that. And I was like, wait, let me see if I can get some alternatives going.
Yeah. No, so I completely understand. It's something, but so with what I'm doing in marketing, like it for me, It doesn't matter if I use a platform personally or if I even like it. I still have to do it
No,
because
I get that. Yeah.
the thing is like players, they're on all of them. You know, even if you don't use it and you don't like it, they're still there, and it's always an opportunity. Like I'll give you an example with TikTok specifically. I've probably spent less than 5 minutes browsing it myself total of me like personally just browsing to look at stuff. I'm probably under 5 minutes. But I've created content there because every piece of content that you post on TikTok is viewed in a vacuum. And so it doesn't matter how many followers you have. You can have a fresh account. The moment you make that post by itself could then go and reach 100 plus thousand people. It doesn't matter. And so, like I did one for Norland during Next Fest earlier in the year.
That's Team Next Fest, right?
Yes. Yep. Steam Next Fest. So was working with a team on a game called Norland, and during that I put together a TikTok for to announce that the demo would be available during Next Fest.
Hmm.
That was a fresh account that we just created the account, got the first piece of content out there. It's got over 117,000 views. One TikTok, boom, right away, 117,000 views, and it just went off. And then the next two pieces of content were 4,000 views and 5,000 views. But still, like that was in a vacuum. And so, like what I've been doing recently with a lot of my clients is what we'll do is we'll create one new piece of content a day for TikTok. And then we take that and we repost it on YouTube as a short. And then we repost it on Instagram as a reel. And then we repost it on Facebook. And then we repost it on X. And so we get that one piece of content turns into five pieces of content.
Twitter!
It's, yeah. I mean,
it's Twitter!
Formerly known as Twitter. Yes. So we do that one piece of content and it turns into five. And we do it every day. And so all it is making one piece of content. And they're gameplay driven pieces of content. You can do something as simple as just, let me grab 10 seconds of gameplay and throw it up there.
Yeah, I kind of do that with I once or twice I tried sharing on Instagram, and people think Twitter's video compression is bad. Nah. Nah. Instagram's a lot worse.
Yeah.
So I kind of do that. I share on Twitter, then on Mastodon and Tumblr.
I noticed that.
And then there's Blue Sky.
Yep.
When are we getting video, Blue Sky? When? When? We can't even put a GIF. I can't even do the workaround that would usually work, which is to put the video on Imgur or whatever crap, and then link that for it to. It just embeds a preview image. Just hot link the video. What the hell?
Yeah, but that was one thing when I was looking over this project I really appreciated about it was you're not just on the social channels that you would expect, but you're also on some of these other ones that are relatively new or not as frequent yet. But you're there and you're being active there and you're reposting there. It's just free visibility. It's free additional visibility.
Yeah. I mean, I'm talking about TikTok like I'm allergic to portrait video. For years, I've been saying the same about Tumblr, and I'm now there. So for all I know, eventually I'll be on TikTok as well.
Yeah, it's just reach. It's low hanging fruit reach.
It took Elon buying Twitter for me to be like, okay, fine, I'll make a Tumblr just in case.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
so maybe eventually I'll make a TikTok as well. But I'm putting the videos in landscape. Screw you all. I'm putting them. You're gonna have to do this. You're gonna have to do this.
Yeah,
something really hard. Oh, God, no. No, I'm going to put them actually in landscape. You're going to be a grown-up, and you're going to do this with your phone. You're going to do this. It's not that hard. You're looking at it, then you do this.
Yeah, I love it. But no, I think that, this game in particular with Buck Up and Drive 2, it's made for social media. Like, you can take a 1 second clip, you can take a 5 second, 10 second, it doesn't matter.
I usually go for like 30, 40 seconds. Give it enough time to show a couple of some of the bullshit. a couple of
Yeah,
tricks and the like.
it really doesn't matter how long the clip is. It's engaging, and it's something that you're going to replay, and that's going to influence, like on YouTube, as a short. If you were to post it as a short, or clips as a short rather, people are going to rewatch that because you can't just watch one run through. You're like, yep, I understand what that is, and then move on. You're going to watch one clip and be like,
What the
all right,
hell
I'm
was
gonna have to
that?
I gotta let that run again, and then
I actually had people tell me that they watched the thing like 2 to 3 times, not because
yes.
of that, but because they didn't realize the thing looped.
Oh, okay, yeah, being that racing, yeah, and that
Yeah,
works as well. That works in its favor as well.
and sometimes I do it on purpose. I try to have the thing end
Yep,
somewhat similarly to how it began, usually with the car in a drifting position.
yep. I noticed
And
that on the Steam page on
some
the original Buck Up and Drive.
Yeah, the cars are always drifting because why
Yeah,
wouldn't they?
yep. But the Truno in the description, there's a GIF of the Truno,
Ah, yeah, yeah.
and that one loops, and that one it's
That
close.
one does it. Yeah, I. It was a while ago, but yeah, I probably did that too. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's something I eventually realized. Okay, that's not even for the sake of engagement. It's just kind of funny.
yeah, yeah. It's nice. I mean, it's
That
also when you when
that's
you
the
get it
reason why I do
perfect.
most of it. It's just because it's funny.
Yeah. Well, and that's just going through the Steam page and reading it. Like I have time to explain, but I just don't want to. Like
Yeah,
that's great.
just look at it.
That's great.
Just look at it.
I mean, when I
Here's the
was going
thing.
through the Steam page, I'm going through the screenshots, I'm reading the description. Everything there it's well thought out. There's no filler crap. There's no canned crap. There's no just trying to, all right, what did I learn at this GDC talk on how to communicate about my game? Let me try to replicate. There's none of that. There's
I,
just pure,
I don't need buzzwords. I have footage.
yeah,
That's
it's
basically it.
it's
And
beautiful.
other than that, I'm just taking the piss.
Yeah. And so that's again in part like the more I would deep dive after I saw the initial clip from 80 level, and then I just started to
Yeah.
look over your social and look over the Steam page for the original game, and just going through everything. Like you mentioned earlier, we were talking about Spider-Man, and you
Hmm.
mentioned Into the Spider-Verse, and you watched that.
I
Um,
did. Yeah.
there's a
Watch
similar
both of them.
feeling. Yeah, so there's a similar feeling with both of them. There's a similar feeling with both films where you can tell the people that worked on it enjoyed it. You,
They give
you
a
kind of,
shit.
yeah, there's a care in every frame, and there's little things. Studio Ghibli, I'm only going to bring this up because I just watched The Boy and the Herring, I think is what it's called.
Hmm.
The latest Studio Ghibli. I just watched it like
Haven't
two
haven't
days
watched
ago.
it. Haven't watched that yet. Is that the one that's 3D?
No, nope.
Mm-mm.
No, this one's in theaters. It may not be in theaters anymore. I watched it two days ago in theaters. Um, really good. I know that every film I've brought up I've said is really good, but this one's genuinely really good. Uh, but again, it's one of those things where everything about it, when you watch a Studio Ghibli film, you can tell they care. From the sound effects, from every little animation, from everything that's happening, even if it looks like a fever dream at points of the movie. Uh, you can tell there's attention to detail and care in every frame, and that's what I get from not just the game, looking at the gameplay footage of Buck Up and Drive and what you're working on with the sequel, but just how it's presented. Every little bit about how it's presented and how it's communicated. There's care in everything. There's thought in everything, um,
I'm
down
trying to
to
make it look
Van Diesel.
cool. I'm trying
Yeah,
to make it look cool.
and it's with the
Cool,
billboards.
stupid, sometimes both.
Yeah,
The billboards. I still have a lot of those to make it now for the sequel. Most of the ones from the original game have been brought back. I redrew those.
have you thought about doing cross promo with the billboards? It's a great opportunity to throw other indies up there that you may like personally.
I thought about it. It's possible. I'd have to work that. We would have to work that out. If anybody thinks that'd be a worthwhile opportunity, hey, shoot me an email.
Yeah, that could be cool because I could see a lot of other indies that have that same level of care and attention to detail with their games. You know, the high quality. You know, there's a threshold with indies where you can tell like, all right, they're new, they're figuring it out, they're working on it, which is great. But then there's this threshold of, oh, okay, now we're in that level, that quality barrier with an indie where it's like, all right,
The ones that are starting to scratch the mid tier category.
well, no, it's there is a clear, it's a very clear divide where there's below the divide, you can tell, all right, there are holes in their game, but they're working on it, which is great. And there's a lower tier than that where it's like, all right, you're understanding what a game is and how you can start that process of making the game. You've made an elevator, now you've made a button, you've opened the elevator, now you're on the, you're getting it, but
Yeah,
this shouldn't be commercially sold. Like they're at this point, this should not be on Steam.
and then there's a tier below that known as asset flips.
Then there's asset flips, and now soon to be AI
Ey.
game. So you've got those two, but as you climb the ladder, you get to this point where it's like, oh, all right, this is a real one. Like this is someone that knows what they're doing. There's attention to detail, and what I love about sequels is it shows you, okay, this is a developer that can get to the finish line because that's a whole nother deal. That's a whole
It's what I said. I did it once. I can do it again.
Yeah, that's a massive thing because there are games out there. I'm not going to mention one that comes top of mind, but there are games out there that have been in development for well over a decade. And when you look at the gameplay, it's insane, especially pixel art games where you can see there is attention to detail with everything. And it looks
Yeah.
outstanding, but it's not even close to a finish line. It's been in development for a decade, and they're
Pixel art
still
takes a
churning.
while.
Yes. And so,
Good,
but when,
especially good pixel art takes a while. In fact,
well, another problem. Oh,
Dunkehr
go ahead.
started Dunkehr started as a pixel art game, and then I realized, yeah, pixel art takes a while to make, and long term, I would rather explore other visual styles. So then I made the move to HD, and then whatever. But yeah, good pixel art by default, unless you're doing something really simple. But pixel art by default is very time consuming, especially good pixel art, and that's where you end up with those indie games that take like a decade to make.
Yep.
Not even because it's a solo developer. And if I don't know if it's the one you were thinking of, I'm gonna say it because I'm also thinking of it. Owlboy, for example, took a while.
Owlboy was over a decade,
It
but there
looks
is a
real
game.
good,
Yep,
but it
it's
took a
outstanding.
while. I'm making a sequel for Buck Up and Drive because Buck Up and Drive 1 was practically done. I'm going to release this as is. I'm going to add some more content to it, some more cars, some more environments, what have you, and move on. Dunkehr, however, I did the whole engine change thing,
Mm,
and that's part of what contributed to the hiatus.
yeah,
However, uh, instead of doing that of just one more month, no, I'm like, once I go back to Dunkehr, I'm going to restructure this thing to make something I can release in a reasonable time frame, and then just
yeah,
add through updates as I see fit. Like, one option I have is the game has a dual mode, kind of like Buck Up and Drive. I don't know if you're seeing
hmm
a pattern here. Uh, I could release that and then add the campaign. Kind of like what Street Fighter Five did, except I'm an indie. I have an excuse, and I'm not charging $60 for this.
yeah,
Uh, so yeah, that kind of story. Again, the game better come out amazing.
yeah. But you being on both ends of the spectrum here is it's very unique. And so for other developers that are out there, maybe working on a game and they've been working on it for a while, when do you get to the point to where you start to, in your mind, really take a hard look at scope and a hard look at where the game is in terms of production and make those decisions of, all right, we need to cut features, we need to, like, at what point are you able to kind of draw that line in the sand? Because it's an interesting thing, uh, you know, being at that part of production.
Yeah, in my case, it was as I said before. I don't want to spend like 5 or 6 years without releasing anything.
Hmm.
So let's look at what we have. What can I do that I don't mind working on all this in the long run, but what can I do that can be released sooner so I can get some revenue to keep working on it later.
Yep.
That kind of stuff. And in the meantime, right now the option is I got Buck Up a Drive 2 to which I had already promised even before the first one came out.
Yep. And
Because
well, so that's what puts you in a really good position too, is that you were able to create this other project, get it to the finish line, have enough demand for the sequel, and then be able to just pivot. And so whenever you may experience burnout working on this one game, you don't just let you don't have to just sit there and try to push through that burnout and just grind. Now you can kind of pivot over and
that's part
you
of
know
why I had the two, so I could bounce back as I saw fit. If I spent a long time working on this, okay, now let's work on this one. But right now, I figured let's just focus on this one, and after that's released, I can do something like I go back to Dunkehr, and okay, I've worked on this for a while. Let's add some cars to this one, and then go
yeah.
back to this because after this is done, it's like it can be on in maintenance mode, and I'll just add some content to it as I see fit, and then I can. I took a break from Dunker. Let's go back. Now let's go back to it, and then just repeat until everything's done.
That's a really interesting approach, and honestly, I think that's probably the healthier approach to indie game development, having two projects to work on at all times, even if you don't intend on. So, putting myself in the shoes of an independent developer, if I was working on a project that was going to be this larger scope of work, something that may take more years, that's going to be commercially sold, I think it would be in my best interest to explore a second project, even if I don't intend on that being a commercially viable project, but just something to just divert my attention and get off the other one and be a healthy change of pace, to a
A
totally
good
different type of game too.
Yeah, a good chunk of indie devs actually do. I know a few who are doing that. Like they have their bigger project and then they're doing these smaller things on the side. If not with the intention of publishing, at least a design exercise, see if they can
Yeah,
do something. And who knows, it might develop into something they can incorporate into the bigger game, like
yeah,
whatever that may be.
and you're also
Some
continuing learning. Like
Yeah,
you're learning on both ways, especially if you're working on one that's in Game Maker, one's in Godot. You're working on with these different tools. I think is also valuable as well, in kind of
if
chipping
you
away at one.
if unlike me you intend to actually do industry work, yeah, there's definitely value to diversifying and learning the quirks of multiple engines. If you're looking for work, this project uses game maker, this one uses Unity or Godot, what have you, and you're like, okay, I can work with both of them, it's fine. In my case, since I intend to be in my corner, I'm fine working with Godot. It's actually funny. Some people thought I was already working with Godot 4, but no, it's still 3.5.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, I like the way that you're approaching this with these two projects. I know that one's technically on hiatus right now, but
Not
I
technically,
like that
officially,
approach. Yeah, officially on hiatus. I
officially on
do.
hiatus.
I like that approach, and again, you getting one to the finish line was a massive. Was that your first game, uh, end
It
to end?
was it was my first published video game. Before that, I have published work again, the board game stuff.
Yeah,
And I did some work on some video games that didn't exactly go anywhere. But yeah, this is my first fully released video game as myself.
yeah. I mean, it was that's a huge deal in and of itself being able to do that.
It was
Did
a
you?
hell of a relief.
Yeah.
It was a relief to hit publish. Okay, we're done. We're done. I'm taking a
Was
week off. Fuck all of you.
was Itch and Steam, was that a simultaneous, or was?
No, since it was my first one, I knew that Steam would have a bit more bureaucracy to it, and it does. On itch, it's just you make a page, you upload a zip, and that's it. And I'm like, okay, let's put this on itch, get feedback from people, fix a few bugs, then put it on Steam,
Yeah.
and yeah, and I feel if I were to do it again, I would probably do that. Even I'm not doing that with Backup and Drive 2. I intend to release it simultaneously
Okay.
because I already went through that, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's not a bad way for indies who are still getting started to just get something out there. Put it on Steam first, see if people like it, and then spend $100 to put it on Steam.
Yeah.
Because $100 to a lot of indie devs, to to an established studio, it's nothing.
Yes.
For just a schmuck, it's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. But so with this upcoming, whenever the sequel is going to come out,
When
um,
it's done.
yeah. Do you plan on submitting it for any sort of awards, any events, anything like
Oh,
that?
dude, it's actually funny you brought that, because the first one has an award.
Really?
It won the Spotlight Awards related to Lisbon games. Oh yeah,
Yep.
I don't think I ever mentioned it. I'm from Portugal,
Okay.
uh, and I was at my mom's place and I was scrolling on Twitter. Wait, I got tagged. What is it? Spotlight Award Game of the Year nominee? What is this shit? What what is this? I didn't even know the event existed. Then the next day,
Yeah.
someone told me, "Hey, you won? I won what?
Yeah.
What did I win?" Like they fucking they were holding the ceremony, and apparently the guy was on stage like with the thing in his hand, like, "Hey, what
Wow.
is he?" I
Wow.
didn't even know the event existed. Then the next day they DM'd me on Twitter, "Hey, can you show up?" And then I went to the event to shake some hands and the like.
Yeah.
And
I
so
mean, so that would be.
I mean,
I'm
yeah,
looking at your
I'll
Steam
also
page.
I didn't put the thing in the page yet.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah.
should I should probably get around to that.
Yeah. This type of game again. I think it should be every event, every award for independent games. This should be submitted to. I think like the sequel should be a massive award collector, or at least collecting nominations. It's again going back to the attention to detail, the care, and the silliness and absurdness of this. It aligns with everything that you want from an indie, and your focus on staying true to being an indie. I'm going to do this all myself. I'll only work with other people if I feel like I literally cannot do it. Then I will bring. But staying as true indie as possible. This is perfect for all of these different independent game award shows and events. It needs to be in Steam Next Fest whenever you want to participate in that. You only get one, but whenever you want to
if
participate in that, it needs to be there. Um,
if I get an invite, hey, it's visibility.
yeah,
We could
it's
we we as indies we got to take what we can get.
yep.
Be in,
There and
be next fest, anything.
there's magazines like Debug magazine. There's a few others, or there are a few others. I hate that I'm blanking. But like Debug, this should be in Debug magazine. Um, there are all these different indie focused avenues where they look for games like this. That's their job, is to find these gems, these unique experiences that you don't come by every day. And that's what this is. And I think you stumbling on it, stumbling into awards that you didn't even know you were nominated for, stumbling
Like,
into cover,
the hell
like,
is this?
yeah, it just screams like this needs to be a part of these events. And again, like Next Fest, no cost to be a part, other than the 100 to get on Steam.
I
But
actually Buck Up and Drive was in the racing fest. This
yep,
barely qualifies as a racing game, but I'll take it.
yep.
It was in the fighting game fest
If
because of
it
the,
if there's
because
overlap, if
if
there's overlap, go for it.
there's any reason, because Buck
Yep.
Up and Drive is the kind of game that even I have a hard time describing it. I usually just call it the stupid car game that I made. because it's stupid as
Yeah.
hell. It has cars in it.
Like this is it, that's also an interesting point. Like you can be in the fighting game fest, you can be in the racing game, you can be in a lot of them.
I'm sure a lot of people who are scrolling. Okay, Street Fighter. Okay, Tekken. Okay, that. What the hell
Yeah. Is that a Ferrari?
is that? The what?
Is that a
What is?
Van Diesel?
For the Van Diesel, you actually have to go through the community post to see it. It's in the game, but because a lookalike of Vin Diesel's face is in it, I'd rather not give it too much focus for obvious
Yeah.
reasons.
Yeah.
It falls in the same category as, say, newspaper caricatures or something, but still, it's in there.
Yeah. No, I yeah, this is something that should the sequel, speaking of the sequel, that's something that's set up really well. For all these different events, all these different nominations at awards, like the IGF awards, it should be a part of that. The
IGF. Oh, is that what does that stand for again?
the IGF, and just so I'm not talking out of turn here,
Because if it is who I think, I got an email from
Independent
them.
Games Festival.
Oh, festival. Because I got a excuse me, I got an email from an org related with indie developers who, because of the award, they emailed me to have the game featured in there, and that sounded kind of similar. It's IG. It's also IG something.
Well, so the Independent Games Festival awards. Let me see if you can even submit your game yet. Yeah,
Media.
100%. Yeah, but and that's not that's just one. But the reason being is I would love to see like on the Buck Up and Drive Steam page like all these different nominations and awards, all the icons on the side. I think it would look really cool there,
Yeah,
and it's well deserving.
that'd be funny.
Yeah, yeah, because
Like,
it complements.
some people think this isn't terrible. Here,
Yeah, and that's what I like about it is it like there is a way for you to display it in your own way where you could put in there, on the side like people
again,
think it's not terrible.
some people think this isn't shit.
Yeah, so I think it fits it pretty well. But yeah, it's a very exciting game. I really enjoy all the aspects of creation on this with what you're doing with it, whether it's the actual game and the features within the game and the absurdity of wall riding and Van Diesel to the way that you communicate the game, with your short description, your bio on the store page, in just the little granular details of like the billboards and how absurd those are in and of themselves. I think all of it equates something that makes the indie space really special when you get these types of condensed, focused experiences. Um, and also, to the cherry on top is that like the original Steam Deck verified. So, going through the process of making sure that
That's
it works
another
there is
one.
great.
I got an email saying, "Hey, your game's verified." What?
Wait, so that
What?
wasn't like a purposeful thing? That wasn't like a
No,
purposeful...
I just got an email. I just woke up. I looked at
Wow,
Gmail like, "Hey, your game's Steam verified." Okay, thanks.
that's awesome.
Okay.
I love the story that everything that's happening here is just an email
Well,
that happens.
hey. What the
Yeah,
hell? What is all this?
that's outstanding. That's
I don't
perfect.
know. But yeah, people I know who have a Steam Deck, they apparently the game runs well enough in there. I mean, it should. It's just a PC,
Yeah, yeah,
but
and
it probably helps that the game uses as the input prompts. It kind of does it like the Switch, where they are based on the location of the button, not the label.
yeah,
So maybe they went like, "It's good enough." Maybe
yeah.
maybe that's what they did. I'm doing that again. Though I might do what some games do and allow you to choose what style of prompts you want, but the default will be like that.
Now with Godot or with the sequel, how will the is this game set up really well to make localization easy?
I honestly don't know. I wasn't really. too too concerned about that, mostly because that is one area where, of course, I, I know Portuguese, I know English, I remember some Spanish. Anything else, yeah, that's one area where I would need some help. But it's probably the kind of thing that if I were to add it, it would be after release.
Gotcha.
I would first need to see some numbers to see if it's justified to invest
Mhm.
in localization. But right now the game doesn't have much text, so
That's why I brought it up because I think it could be one that may be a little bit
yeah,
easier
I
because
would
of the
have
lack of text.
to I would have to set things up to make it easier to put all the text in. It's a possibility. Again, I would have to think about it after release, see how it does. Uh, Unlike Dunkehr, this game is not as prone to puns. That's in the case of Dunkehr, for example. That's a bit of a problem when almost everything's a pun. How are you going to localize that?
Yeah,
So sometimes
yeah,
you're just gonna have to say, "Hey, learn some English." I'm sorry.
yeah.
With Backup and Drive and Backup and Drive 2, that is a bit more. That is more possible. We'll see. Again, more than likely after release.
Gotcha. Yeah, I could see that being a bit because again, I mean, having Steam Deck verification just fall in your lap, which is great. Um, it's widening that potential pool of players. Um, in a game where there's not a ton of text, that could
Yeah,
potentially be like
it's
a
mostly an
low.
arcadey kind of thing.
Yep. I
Yeah,
think it could be low hanging fruit.
whatever text it has, it's mostly UI. There, there's practically no There's no dialogue. Wait, no, there is dialogue when you bonk the traffic and it says "fuck off."
But I think localization on that could be probably a little simple or fairly simple
Yeah,
for
yeah, it's relatively simple as far as localization
you could
goes.
just do emojis. You could just do emojis for that, so that crosses all of
Can we not go that far into the cringe?
them.
Can we not, no, no. Just you knock out a boss and it just shows up a poop emoji. No,
Yeah, yeah. Just a sad face.
no, it would be happy face. You're the one who bonked it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I'm very excited. So with the sequel, every time I scroll down here, the trailer automatically plays. Sorry, I'm on the Steam page looking through it.
Oh,
Every time I
no.
scroll down to look at the bio, the trailer kicks off, and I'm hearing the
Yeah, Steam has
but
a bit of a problem with that. Yeah.
yeah. But with the sequel, I saw you have the logo already good to go. When do you anticipate having the store page up?
Uh, I would I would preferably have something when I'm closer to having a demo. I
Hmm.
usually don't like to put up a page or anything without having a way for people to try out the game. For
Yep.
example, the itch page, it only went up after I had a demo. Same with Dunker. In fact, with Dunker, I had a demo before even having an itch page. Uh, but yeah, I
Where
once
was the
I'm close.
demo hosted?
On my Patreon. In fact,
Gotcha.
I started my Patreon as Dunker's Patreon. Now, because of the hiatus, I took the chance to expand that to be about my work in general.
Yeah.
But that's where the demo initially was. Then I made the itch page, um, and for Buck Up and Drive, that was just itch page. Here's the demo. The full thing comes out in like a couple of weeks, and I might do the same with the sequel. Again, I may have a demo sometime this year, but no promises. Again, I want to make sure the thing looks good, and if that takes a
Gotcha.
bit, it takes a bit.
I know, like you just said, if it takes a while, it takes a while. Do you think that the demo may be ready by June?
Of this year,
Yes.
unlikely. because you know how you go through all the environments and stuff. And for example, how many environments do I have? One. How many cars do I have? One. It's the Ferrera. I have like a test model for a bike, and that's it. Like right now, there's more content for the cosmetics for the customizable dummies than there is for the actual gameplay. Can you tell I had some fun with that? Uh,
I saw the skirt. You said the skirt
oh
was
yeah, that
difficult.
pain. Yeah, I remember I said skirts are a pain in the ass to rig, like the doing the whole thing of how the bones influence the mesh. If you know about this, someone in the audience probably doesn't. Yeah, like when you do the 3D model and then you attach bones so you can animate it, and then you need to assign which vertices are tied to which bones. And skirts are deceptively complicated, especially that one because they add the frills and add some frills
Yeah.
and everything. And
Yep.
when the character's moving, you don't want it to look like a mess. Uh,
Gotcha. So if
but
June is not,
June, I would rather say no.
yeah,
Again, there's not much there right now. In fact, right now I'm still refining. Uh, Before I hopped into this, I was changing a few things on how environments are generated because much like the first game, they will be randomly generated. And I was reworking how some of the assets are done. I'm right now working on settling to an extent on how I want things to go. So making every other environment will be a lot easier instead of always thinking, okay, how am I going to do this for this one environment? No, I already have most of it set up. So then things get a little easier, but I'll still need to make the assets, and that's going to take a while. So June, I don't know.
yeah,
The garage is still all test assets, still grids all over the place.
yeah. Well, the only reason why I bring it up is because I was just looking over the Steam Next Fest dates for this year. We've
Uh,
got one in February, which obviously that's rare, and the deadline passed like November last year or October last year. So February, then there's one in June, and then there's one in October. Um,
October, not impossible. I'll have to see
yeah,
because it's not just having the demo done. It's okay. This could be done in advance, but it's also the whole process of getting the Steam page going,
yep,
etc., etc.
yeah,
That's that's its own roller coaster of bureaucracy. Just get They take a while to approve, and
yeah,
again, it's just make the page, upload the zip, and you're done.
yeah. I love the simplicity.
Yeah, I get why Steam is a little more complicated because it's 15 years of dealing with scams.
Yeah,
They and right now, itch for all its simplicity, it's also dealing with a bunch of scams. Like the usual where someone shows up on Discord and hey, try out my game, and oh no, my login token's been stolen.
yeah. I just lost all my Bitcoin.
Yeah. No, the most common is people just trying to steal your account. You run the executable,
Yeah.
and it accesses your login token, and they're able to hijack your account that way.
All right.
It's,
That's weird.
and
What
sometimes
what would they
they
get out of the account?
uh a lot of the times it's just a lot of the times if I were to guess, it's accounts that some people already know and trust, so it's easy to
Oh yeah.
you can use
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
one to
Yep.
scam everybody else because hey, it's my friend. Oh
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. Gotcha. That makes sense. I thought it was more of like they're just trying to
So
play Resident Evil 4. It's like just buy the game, bud. Like you don't need to access the account. Like, okay.
in the case, they do that with Steam accounts too. When the thing
Yeah.
is, you if you have an account with a lot of games, there are people willing to buy them because they already have the games in them. So if you can steal an
Ooh.
account, you can sell it in
Yeah.
the black market.
I
Like,
didn't
hey,
think
here's
about
an
that.
account with a bunch of games worth like thousands of dollars for $100.
I thought about years ago. I thought about
You thought
so
about scamming some people too?
no. This was not scam. Yeah, I wasn't thinking about scamming people. This was more so. This was back when Bitcoin was a relatively new. It was like 2009. No, it was after because Ethereum became a thing. Um, I thought about like using the blockchain. I'll make this short because a lot of people are just like, this dude sucks now. Uh, but I thought of why couldn't you just have like Steam if they had their own blockchain where you purchase a game digitally, now it's yours, you own it forever, but then you can sell it or rent it or just lend it to a friend on the blockchain because you own that copy, that digital game,
Well,
and
lending's
just
already a thing with the whole family thing, the family program. You can
that's
already
true.
do that.
But
As for but
what I mean
selling
is like if you
with
had a
the
secondary market, right? And
yeah
then you
yeah
sold that game, then the original creator of the game, the developer, would then get
get
royalty
a bit of
off of
get
every sale. Every transaction, even if you're renting the game, developer gets say a percentage. If you're selling the game, because you could rent it to someone
that's true,
and
but
then
yeah, but then Steam sales are a thing. So what's the point?
I know, so but that's what I'm saying is like if you could buy it directly from the store, um, pay the full price, fine. After you
Yeah,
play it, if then you want to sell it on the secondary market, the publisher and the developer still get paid. The platform still gets their cut. You can just bake in royalties and fees for every transaction. So then, if the price of the games goes down but the volume goes up, everyone's still getting a cut. Um,
yeah,
it's
but
weird
then you
because it does eat into why would you pay the full price and that
yeah,
whole
but
deal.
then you end up with an environment where there's no incentive to, for example, wait for this for the summer sales.
That's true.
Like, what's
Yeah,
the point? I can just go buy it used,
it kills sales.
and at the same time, why would I buy this used? It's less than $1 on sale right now.
Yep.
So
Yeah. So
I don't know.
there.
The way Steam is set up, it's already like why bother setting something
Yeah,
like that up? And
it would
for
be like
all
a
we
digital
know,
GameStop in a way.
maybe. But then, how likely is it that this can be used for scams? There's also that too.
Yeah, 100%. A hundred
Yeah,
percent.
that's also the thing. It's not that worth it given what you can already do on Steam, and then you're probably opening yourself up to scams. It's probably not worth it.
Yeah.
I get the idea.
Yeah.
I thought about something like that myself, but then I remembered, oh yeah, sales.
Yeah. Well,
What's the
it
point?
the only reason why I originally thought of it was like I have a big library. Like there's games I'm never going to touch again. There's games I played, I
Same,
beat. Like
same.
I'm never going to touch it. They're just going to sit there. I own them. I own them, but I'm not going to play them. And someone may want to play them and enjoy them. And if I could
Yeah.
just here, lend it or
However,
give it or
however,
whatever.
lending is already a thing. You can already do that at least.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
again,
like the lending. I like the lending.
yeah,
I
that
would like developers to also get a cut, like get a kickback, because you have like cdkeys.com and all these other ones where like you're not necessarily getting your cut, your fair share. You know what I mean? Because like
oh
if you
oh
get
you
keys,
oh you mean the
like
places where they got some keys that fell off a truck?
yeah. So like
Yeah,
you have this. If PewDiePie emailed me and he wanted 5,000 keys. So
they
when
fell
you
off a
have
truck.
these, yeah. But if there was a way where you could still developers always get a cut of every transaction, no matter what, that would be cool to
Yeah,
just have that baked in. But I get it; like it
yeah.
messes up a lot of stuff.
My go to train of thought for a lot of that is they probably thought about that and then remember at least three ways in which some people can run the scam
Oh,
with that.
I'm
And
sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
I'm sure.
again, it's over 15 years of them dealing with this shit.
Yeah,
They probably already thought of all the scenarios or
if there was a
something.
seamless way to make it work, Valve would have done it by now.
Yeah, and people give them crap for not doing much. And let's be honest, there are areas in which they could have done they could do a little better. But guys, they've done Proton. I think that counts for something.
Yeah,
They just released the Steam Deck,
yeah,
which it's like a Steam controller, but it doesn't suck.
yeah. I love the Steam Deck. It is
Like I don't have
outstanding.
one, I don't have one because knowing me, it's like I would get one. Oh yeah, this is really cool. Use it for a week, but then like I have my computer right in front of me.
I thought
I
the same
knowing me,
thing.
it's a really cool device,
Yeah.
but it's like $400 to probably not use it a whole lot.
So I ended up using mine. I originally, so when I first heard of it, I was like, I've got my PC back here, and this
Yeah.
thing can run whatever. And I thought, well, why would I want a little handheld that's not going to be able to run whatever the way that I can run it over here? But the reality is, I use the Steam Deck you can even do remote, like before the PlayStation
Yeah.
thing came out. You
Oh,
could,
the one. Oh, the one that's like literally a controller with a screen slapped in.
yes,
The
yeah.
PlayStation
So
Portal. Yeah.
the Portal, yeah. Before the Portal, like you can just do it on your Steam Deck. I sat on my couch with the Steam Deck
Yeah.
playing Final Fantasy 16, and it ran great. And there was minimal lag, and it looked
If
awesome.
yeah, if you're playing through streaming, yeah, all the heavy lifting is being done by your
Yeah,
PC. So
but there was no lag, and it worked great on the
yeah,
Steam Deck.
if I have problems with cloud gaming. However, if it's like done locally, yeah, it's fine. First of all, you own the hardware. You're
Yeah,
the one in control, and then it's not enough of a distance to, at least for casual gaming, it's fine. If you're playing a competitive game, maybe it adds another few milliseconds of lag, and maybe it puts you at a disadvantage. But if you're just playing a single player game, who cares? It's kind of like playing locally on the Steam Deck, like playing Elden Ring at like 30 frames per second. It's fine.
yeah. That when it comes to that, when you're playing like premium PC games on it, I'm not like I have
It
Baldur's Gate
depends.
3 on it, and it's like I still would
That
just rather play Baldur's Gate 3 back there.
Yeah, and when the Xbox Series S has problems running it, yeah,
Yeah,
that
that's
that
true.
that's actually a game that, from what I've seen, it looks really cool. I I haven't gotten it, and I don't think I will, mostly because of the combat. I'm not a fan of the style of combat in those games, but it
Yeah,
still looks like a really cool game for those that will enjoy it.
I agree.
Also the dice rolls, not much a fan of those.
I agree
But
with
hey,
that completely.
it's a me thing.
That's what held me back from getting it until the holidays, and then during the holiday break, it just kept winning awards, and everyone kept talking. And then Metacritic still has it as the best game, and I was like, I don't like CRPGs. I don't like how they're played. I don't like the camera angle being so far out. I like my camera being behind or first person. Um,
Mm.
and I played Divinity Original Sin 2, and I've played it on like 7 to 10 separate occasions, and I can't get into it. I just really don't like it.
Mm.
Um, Disco Elysium, I think is what it's called,
Yeah.
is another one I've tried. I can't get into it. I understand the writing's really good. I understand that there's elements to it that are very top end. It's just not for me. And I thought, well, Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be a waste of money because it's going to share, like, it's the same people that made Divinity Original Sin
It's
2.
it's the same kind of game, etc., etc.
Same kind
Yeah.
of game. But I've played it, and the more I play it, the more I'm like, I'm into it. It's the characters, the voice acting. There's so many elements that you can just appreciate for like, holy shit! All right, if I didn't do that, and that would have happened, and that would have affected so much in the game. And there's like during combat, if you just think of funny things, like, well, what if I did this? Will the game actually account for that? Yeah, it will. It will. It'll 100% do it. If you want to, do some craziness, you can try it, and it's going to work the way that you think it should work.
No,
Um,
that's cool. Maybe I'll eventually give it a go
I'd wait
if
for it to go on
maybe
sale.
yeah.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, given that I'm on the fence at best,
yeah,
wait to get it on sale. Maybe I'll like it. This is just
yeah.
impression of what I know, how the game plays like, and how I'm usually either bored or frustrated with combat that focuses mostly on menus and whatnot. I usually tend to prefer action based stuff, and
Yeah, me too.
maybe
I'm the
maybe
same deal.
maybe I'll give it a go if I get it on sale.
Did you get a chance to play many games last year? Or I know sometimes when developers are head down, they don't. But
uh, did Tears of the Kingdom come out last year? It did, right?
yeah,
Yeah, I played Tears of the Kingdom. It was my emotions with it were a bit. Let's say I, if I were to compare it with Breath of the Wild, there's more in Tears of the Kingdom, but Breath of the Wild works better with what little it has.
Did you
I,
like Breath of the Wild more?
I would like to play it again to make sure, but I get the feeling I will. I get the feeling I'm gonna. When replaying, I think I'm gonna like Breath of the Wild more than I, especially because Tears of the Kingdom had a few parts that actually pissed me off, like
Like
the
which
ending.
ones?
The
Oh,
ending, for
that okay.
example.
I never got there. Yeah,
Okay, so I'm not gonna go into details, but the ending was like, no, no, nope, nope. And
gotcha.
then, uh, have you made it to the depths?
With Tears of the Kingdom, and it's been talked about on this podcast quite a bit on separate occasions.
Wonder why?
I highly dislike that game in so many ways. I've tried to play it on multiple occasions, and I couldn't get longer than an hour in to where I was like, "This is not for me. I'm done." And I love Breath of the Wild, and I could not get into Tears of the Kingdom at all. And
Yeah,
uh,
I see what they were trying to do in spots, but
the building mechanic, I was like, nope. Now we're trying to appeal to the Minecraft Fortnite crowd by grabbing the building mechanic and putting it in our game when you had a beautiful. There shouldn't have been a sequel. Shouldn't have been a sequel. The
I'm
first one was
fine.
great.
I'm fine with there being a sequel portraying Hyrule as it's being rebuilt, which is to an extent what they're trying to do.
Yeah,
I think they should have leaned more into that angle, but okay, fine. But they tacked so much shit on. Why?
yes, yeah.
And again, have you made it to the depths?
So, or do you mean you're on the floating islands, then you go down back to Hyrule?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm just going to explain where I got. So I was at the top. Then I got to the point to where all right, now you can jump down, and now you're back in Hyrule.
Okay. So that's not the
That's where I'm
depths.
at. Yeah,
That's not the depths then.
that's where I got to.
The the depths is where you can really tell that the game is quantity over quality in a lot
Okay,
of respects.
gotcha.
It's where you can really see that they tried to add more and more and more
There's
to the
so
game, and
much.
but
Once I'm combining a sword with a rock, I was like, "What are we
that's
doing?"
just stupid. That was their way of dealing with durability, by the way.
Yeah,
Because when you put the rock in the thing, you're restoring its durability.
yeah,
But now your sword looks like a popsicle.
yes. It looks silly.
Yeah, it's like I again, it's like you said, it's appealing to the Minecraft and the
The building
Fortnite
stuff,
crowd.
that's what really got me the wrong way because
I
now you're focused because the first one you had so much depth and ability to explore in your own way and you can explore various areas at various stages. You're not pigeonholed and going one uh, one focused route. But when you add the building mechanics, you have to build this exact thing to get from point A to point B now. So now you're adding guide rails for me and you're making me go this route. There's creative
yeah.
flexibility in how I create that thing to get me from there to there, but you're making me go from there to there. You're making me do it. And it's also
Sometimes you can cheat hell. I can tell in the long run you will be able to cheat. You're feeling like that way now.
yeah,
You
I'm
will
early.
eventually
I was
you will
early.
yeah, and it kind of makes sense that early on they guide you into making some things to get you used to the mechanics.
Yeah, tutorial.
As you, in fairness, as you go along, you will have more and more options, and that's where the bullshit starts. That's where all the
That's where it
Minecraft.
starts.
That's where the and I would say for all the map that they added, exploration was made worse for one very simple reason. You can make the hovering segue. You can
What
just
do you mean?
you can. uh, you haven't gone that far, so mild spoilers. You will get, you will be able to store in like capsule toys. Maybe since you're early on, you've gotten to this already. You can get capsule toys with devices in them in
Okay.
your inventory, and you can just fart them out and build shit with it.
Okay.
And there are people early on figured out like you can get one that is like a controlling joystick, like it stand you stand on it, and then you have
Yep.
a stick.
Yep.
You could take that, three fans, two or three fans depending on the configuration,
Yep.
and you can effectively fly everywhere with the thing.
Oh,
And you
gotcha.
and not too far into the game, you can get more and more batteries to get more energy, so you can fly all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's not all. Eventually, you get auto build, so you can just build shit without even dragging it out.
Yeah.
You just need to have it in your inventory. You can build one,
Yep.
memorize it with auto build, and then you can just, oh, I need the flying Segway here, and off I
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. That's
There's all the exploration gone.
in Zelda is exploration. That's what Zelda
In great
is.
part, yes, it's
It is
exploration, discovery.
exploration, discovery. Yep.
Even in the
And
classic ones,
that, yeah, that's what I'm
even
saying.
before this open world formula, it was a lot about, it was about fucking around and finding out,
Yeah. Yep.
basically. And even more so in Breath of the Wild, they took that element and ran with it. That's what the
Yeah.
whole game was about. For all its problems, and I do have problems with Breath of the Wild. I love the game, but it has problems. I have problems with durability, for example.
Yeah.
Uh, I would argue the durability problem was made worse in Tears of the Kingdom,
Oof.
because now you not only have durability, there's no reason to work with an infused weapon. So whenever you get a
Yeah.
weapon, you're gonna think, okay, what am I gonna duct tape to this?
Yep. Literally.
So you put it on the ground. For every weapon that you get, you put it on the ground. You take whatever you have in your inventory, you put it on the ground, you activate the power. Wait, no, you put the material on the ground. You get the
Yeah.
weapon, you activate the power, you fuse. Okay, I have three more weapons to do this to.
Yeah. Yep.
No,
Yeah. Those were aspects that completely took me, and they took me out early. They took me out of the game early on, and I was like, "This is not what I signed
I
up
was
for."
able to
And
put I was able to push myself into finishing the main story, but
yeah,
I get it. I get it.
it was
I get.
tough.
Oh, by the way, it helps that I modded the game to have no durability. Uh, no shame. It, but up to a point, I was playing with durability. I'm like, this is a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
This is a royal pain in the ass. I was finding myself early on looking up guides on where to get
I hate that.
the sturdy sticks
Yep.
that are the ones that have the most durability. So
Mm.
so I wouldn't have to do the fusing thing so often.
Yep.
Yeah, I was finding myself looking at I was finding myself breaking what the game is supposed to be about, which is
Yep.
discovery. No, just tell me where
That's
to get the
what.
thing.
That's one of the points when I do that, I stop playing games. Is when I get to the point to where I have to look up a guide, whether it's because the puzzle isn't intuitive enough, or it's because it's too confusing for me, or
Or because From made it.
or that's
I also
that's
played
going to be the
Elden Ring
opening.
last year.
That's going to be the opening of this podcast.
I also played Elden Ring this last year.
Yeah.
I played it after Tears of the
Did you
Kingdom.
beat it? Did you beat Elden Ring?
No,
Oh. Okay.
I made it to Crumbling Faramazula, past the snowfield,
Gotcha.
and
Okay.
I
Yeah.
was already feeling like I was dragging myself. Like after Mike Lindell's house, or whatever that place was called, where you fight the guy with the cane, Margit. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. That's
yeah.
fairly
You
early.
fight
Yeah.
Margit.
Yeah.
No, no, no. I mean, in Lindell Capital. So way after the second time you fight the guy.
Oh yeah. 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 Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got there and I was like,
Yep.
okay, so far Some hiccups here and there, but I'm enjoying the game. And then
Yeah.
I get to the snow area.
Yeah.
Like, why do enemies have like triple the HP? Why are they hitting me like
Yep.
4 times as hard? Why?
Yeah. That was the
What?
one
What happened here?
issue. That was one of the major issues with Elden Ring for me was
Yeah,
you would hit a wall.
that difficulty, sudden difficulty spike.
Yeah. You hit a wall and
And
it's kind of forcing you to, all right, now go back and get off the beaten path so you can grind up. Is what it's forcing you to do.
yeah, I
Because you'll
found
get that. There's another temple later that you get to that does that times 10. And then it's like, oh shit, this isn't skill based anymore. Now we're talking grinding. Because these
Wait,
characters.
you mean after the snowfield?
Yes. There's going to be.
Is that the one with the cyclones?
Yes.
That's where I stopped.
That's the one. When you get there, if you haven't grinded
I
up
did.
there, that one is the clear. I stopped there too. That's where I stopped the first time. I had to go back. It took me a while to finish Elden Ring because I stopped.
Yeah, maybe I'll go back to it and finish it. But right at the time, I was like, nah, I'm feeling like I'm pushing myself to beat this, and like, what's the point? And oh, god damn it, I played Elden Ring, but I finally got around to finish Dark Souls 3.
Okay.
Before going to Elden Ring, I had them both. I remember playing Dark Souls 3 some years ago, but then work got in the way or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, I finished Tears of the Kingdom. I have Elden Ring. I want to get into Elden Ring. Let's finish Dark Souls 3 first. And I didn't do all the DLC. I heard a lot of cool shit about the fight with Gale. I gotta play that again to get to that fight. But when I did play Dark Souls 3, I liked it. In some aspects, I still prefer Dark Souls 1.
Okay. Not Dark Souls 2.
We don't talk about Dark Souls 2.
I was gonna say we've omitted 2.
It was the last game I ever pre-ordered.
Ooh.
Dark Souls 2.
I guarantee you're not alone in that. I guarantee you're not.
I know.
Alone in that.
There are some things about Dark Souls 2 that I like, but overall, god damn it.
Yeah.
But Dark Souls 1, it's of the 3, it's the one I prefer for the exploration.
Okay.
Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 3 is the one I prefer for the combat.
Yeah.
Of the 3. And I would argue Dark Souls 1 has better exploration than Elden Ring.
Dark Souls 1 for me had great exploration because it was my first experience in a Dark Souls game. And then it contributed to like, holy, like when it starts to open up, you're like, damn, this is.
And you see all the shortcuts interconnecting everything and the way everything's connected. You take this elevator. Oh, I'm here again.
Yep. I went into that blind.
I would argue the game's a Metroidvania.
Yeah, 100%.
At least in structure, if not for anything else.
Yeah.
In map structure, if not for anything else.
I totally agree.
You don't have a map screen, but the way everything's connected, it's a Metroidvania.
Yeah.
Dark Souls 3 is a lot more. It's more of a classic beat 'em up in the sense that everything's more linear. There's some things here and there, but not much. Dark Souls 2 has its own branch-like structure, which it's not bad. It's not bad. It's its own thing. That's not part of the problems I have with Dark Souls 2. And then Elden Ring, it's a Ubisoft game, but combat doesn't suck.
That's the first time I've heard it put that way, but that I get it. I totally get what you're saying there.
It's a height map terrain with shit sprinkled in. Like it's not probably not as formulaic as a Ubisoft game. No. But at its core, though. I'm saying this, but in some respects, I probably wouldn't call Elden Ring a true open world game in the sense that I'm used to stuff like Breath of the Wild and Bethesda RPGs, and where you're just plopped into the world and you can go wherever. You can't do that in Elden Ring.
Yeah, there is a progression to it.
Yeah. That's the thing. That's why I'm saying I'm not sure I would call it a true.
And it literally guides you. It literally guides you. Like go.
Yeah, and I have a bit of a problem with that too, with the way It guides you to the first fight with Margit. And then you have to be the one to think, oh, maybe I should go elsewhere. And the game
Yeah.
doesn't tell you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was one of my few problems up until I got to a point where I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll pick this back up. Oh, you haven't gone to the depths in Tears of the Kingdom. I did.
Yeah.
And then I played Elden Ring and I got to the underground areas.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't know if you didn't get that, but you didn't see anything online about the depths in Tears of the Kingdom?
No, no, I've seen
Okay.
nothing. Yeah. I try to
Okay.
go in blind to all these games.
Okay.
I try to avoid stuff.
All right, makes sense. Then I got to the underground areas in the Elden Ring. Uh, Without saying too much about how it is about the depths, who knows? You might still want to play the game one of these days. I would say Elden Ring, with its underground areas that are not as vast, they managed to do more.
Okay. Yeah, I like Elden Ring, like the underground areas in Elden Ring. There are levels to it,
Yeah,
and I did enjoy it. I did.
and you have some that you're like, wait, how do I get up there? No, 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 that's for later in the game.
Yeah. Yep.
And yeah, it's nice. They're it's nothing revolutionary or anything, but it's a good addition to what's already a pretty vast map
Yeah. Oh yeah.
that looks like a curled finger if you look at it.
Ooh, I never got that.
I I only got it because I heard a streamer say it. Don't worry,
Yeah.
I'm not that clever.
I was gonna say that's.
But yeah, you look at the world map in Elden Ring. It's shaped like a
Mhm.
curled finger, which this is
You
where
know
the
that's purposeful.
oh yeah, it has to be because of the theme of the game, like all the finger items. Then you look
Yeah.
at the map, and how do you know it's purposeful? The whole curled finger is a meme in in the From community because Armored Core. I haven't played the
Yep.
most recent one yet.
I've played the most recent one a
There's the
decent amount of
meme
it.
where you need to play those games with your fingers curled up because of how the inputs
Wow.
are organized. So the
Wow.
meme goes back to like the PS1. And there's a grip like this in Dark Souls. A lot of people play it like these two here on the shoulders, and
Yep.
this one curled up to roll.
Wow. That's
So they
outstanding.
probably took. So they probably took that at. Yeah, let's use that as a theme for the game. Fuck it.
That's crazy. Just an insider joke, taking it all the way to
Yeah,
the mouth.
they just ran with it to the point that yeah, the map is shaped like a curled finger.
That's really cool. Wait, so
Yeah.
so 2023, do you have a game of the year, a personal game of the year that you played? Would you
Uh,
say it doesn't sound like Elden Ring
what
or Tears of the Kingdom would be your game of the year?
I mean, if I have what else did I play? I didn't play all that much, did I? Let me take let me take a look at Steam real quick. Uh,
I did not play much either. I always end up just
yeah,
going back to Persona 5.
haven't played that yet. I might get around to it eventually. Uh, did I play anything on emulators? Oh yeah, Tears of the Kingdom.
By the way, how does that hold up? Because on the Switch, on an OLED TV, it looks awful. It looks so bad. It looks. It's
uh,
hard to play, like just
the
off the
frame rate,
visuals.
the frame rate's consistent. I can tell you that.
Yeah, because that's a major. That
The,
was a major problem for
the
me.
frame, the 30 FPS are consistent at least. I will say this, at least this much in defense of Tears of the Kingdom. It shows that Breath of the Wild did not push the Switch's hardware because it was a Wii U game.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it was early. It was 2017, I think,
Hmm?
when that game came out.
Yeah. Also, again, it was a Wii U game, not a Switch game. It was never
Yeah,
going to push the hardware that much. And
yeah,
Tears of the Kingdom shows how far you could push it in terms of how much crap you have, like the
yeah,
physics-based puzzles. You no
yeah,
longer just have a block or two. You have somewhere you have a whole tank of
Yeah.
metal, a whole tank of metal balls in it. You it's like, no, you Breath of the Wild couldn't do this.
Yeah.
Uh, and I don't know if you saw any of this on Twitter. People making clips of showing how stable the physics are. It from a technical standpoint, Tears of the Kingdom is amazing, given what it does with the hardware.
Yeah.
From a design standpoint, is a bit.
That's a game I might need to run on, like maybe Yuzu. I
Yeah,
might need to run Tears of the Kingdom on that because again, when I was playing it on my TV in the living room, OLED TV,
yeah.
it just
On
looks
top of the
so jagged.
design, on top of the design issues, there's also whatever design issues there might be. You also have the fact that good luck getting 30 FPS. The game
Yes.
the game has a 20 FPS mode to constantly
Ugh.
switch back and forth.
Okay.
You might have noticed that sometimes the frame rate drops. It remains
All the time.
stable. Yeah, that's the game switching between 20 and 30.
Ugh. It's so bad.
Uh,
It was tough.
yeah, not only that, it looks really nice at 1080p, which is
Okay.
what I played it at.
Yeah.
And oh, yeah, the game also has the dynamic resolution switching thing.
Okay.
You might have noticed that too.
Okay. Yeah.
The
On a
game
4K
sometimes,
panel, rough.
I mean, it's not going to look like 4K. I can tell you that much.
Okay.
Uh,
So
I
wait, on
mean,
Yuzu, I couldn't on Yuzu, I
no,
couldn't
no.
upscale it.
Oh no. I mean in real hardware. You're running a game that
Yeah.
is already at 720,
Yes.
maybe 900p, because Breath of the Wild was not a 1080p docked or anything. It was like 900, something like that.
Yeah.
And Tears of the Kingdom is probably also that. Uh, and you're putting that on the 4K panel. Yeah, it's not going to look right.
Well, the thing was, so when
And
I
on Yuzu, you can do that. You can run the game at like 2 times, 3 times, whatever your hardware can handle.
beautiful because
It's fine.
when I first booted up Tears of the Kingdom, it stuck out like a sore thumb. Like, oh, this is so jagged, and the performance right out of the gate was all over the place, and it got to the point where
Yeah.
it genuinely hurt my eyes. I'm not being overly dramatic. But like, I'm genuinely like, I'm playing through. And I remember thinking, like, was Breath of the Wild like this? Because I don't remember it being like this in terms
Did
of
you go?
performance.
Did you go back to check?
No, I didn't. I did not. I don't
You're
want to
afraid.
spoil.
You're afraid.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil my my memories of that experience because that experience was when I first because it was a launch title, I believe, Breath of the Wild.
Yes, again, it's technically a Wii U game that was ported like last minute to the. They got like 6 months or whatever the crap it was to take the Wii U game and port it to the Switch. That's in
Yeah.
part why it runs a little bit rough in some places like Kakariko Village and the like.
Yep.
Because the game
Yes.
could,
Yeah,
the
I
game
do remember
could,
that.
the game could run at a clean 30 if they had a bit more time to optimize and the like. You can tell some games that were released eventually do have a lot. Hell, again, Tears of the Kingdom. It does a lot more with the hardware. It has a lot more enemies on screen. It has
Yeah.
more NPCs. There are some segments where you have some NPCs approaching an enemy camp and you can help them, and you see everybody fighting and the like. There's
Mhm.
more going on. That is the theme of Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
It's what you saw in Breath of the Wild, but now there's even more to it.
So would you
Uh,
recommend that I use emulator for that instead of just booting it back up on the Switch?
uh, how how much did performance hinder you from enjoying the game versus the way the game's designed?
Oh, a ton. A ton. It was
I
awful.
would give it another go on emulator then.
Okay.
Definitely. If you think you have the what hardware do you have, if by the way?
Yeah, I've got a 3080 Ti, RTX 3080 Ti GPU, and then a 5600X CPU.
56.
Uh, Ryzen
It's
5600X.
it's fine. It's
Um,
fine. You're gonna get at least a clean 30 on that.
okay.
You're gonna. you might have to install a community patch to make the frame rate stable, because the game might still do the 20 to 30 thing.
Ugh.
I don't know if it's based on performance, or
Yeah.
if it's like it knows that this, or if it's baked, like it knows that this place will run poorly on hardware, so it switches automatically. You also have a 60 FPS patch,
Okay.
if you can run it.
That
I
would be
stuck
ideal.
I stuck with 30. It's as long as it's stable, it's fine. In
Yeah.
fact,
That's true. That's
the
true.
game's physics were done for 30 anyway.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. If it
Uh,
was just stable, that would do a lot for it.
yeah, it can, maybe some place here and there where it dips, but for like 95% of the game, you can get a stable 30. You know what's really cool though? Breath of the Wild running on Cemu, the Wii U emulator.
Yep.
That's where it's a lot more mature, with everything cranked up, shadow quality, shadow distance, and in ultra wide. Looking at all of that all of
Yeah.
that, and then just rotating the camera around, it looks amazing. Breath of the Wild looks holds up really well,
Yeah.
but you crank the settings a bit up, and it looks amazing. That also shows how mature emulating that specific game is, when you have settings pretty much like you would on a PC.
Yeah.
Like you can crank shadow detail, LODs, for example,
Yep.
how trees go from a model to a billboard. You can make it so they show up as models a lot further away,
Hmm.
so you can get even more detail. It makes the game look really nice. And I haven't kept track. I don't know if they've done that kind of stuff for Tears of the Kingdom already, but at least
Okay.
on the Wii U, emulating the thing, it's oh, I also have been playing on it. I also have been playing those games on this.
Yeah.
It's it both Yuzu and Simu, the Wii U and Switch emulators,
Yep.
they detect this automatically, motion and all.
That's the Switch Pro, right?
Yeah,
Switch Pro controller.
yeah.
Yeah.
In
I've got
fact,
one in here.
Joy
Yeah.
Cons work if you want. You
Yeah.
can
It's
connect them. Yuzu just recognizes the Joy Cons. It's
it's
insane.
outstanding. Yeah.
By the way, this also works on Citra, the 3DS emulator.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
you for motion, I think you have to do a couple extra steps, but it can be done,
Okay.
and it works
Yeah.
nicely. Like you don't have to remember. Wait, I'm on an Xbox controller. Where's the A
Yeah.
button again?
Yep.
No, it's fine. By
Yeah,
the
that's
way,
perfect.
nice housing. You can get this on AliExpress.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. I was like, that's a
Yeah,
weird
it's a
looking Switch Pro, but
yeah, it's a mod. It's the brand is Extreme Rate. You can get it's yeah, you can get their stuff on Amazon too. It's nice.
yeah, it looks great.
It has a bit of a velvety feel to it.
Oh, all
Yeah,
right.
it's really nice, and it's like
Is that like the
20.
Super Nintendo
Yeah,
color
yeah,
combo?
yeah.
Yeah, that's really
It
cool.
kind of looks like the SNES,
Yep.
the one out. They have the one with the purple buttons too,
Yeah.
if you'd like that.
Which looks, yeah, that version of it looks good. I
Yeah,
prefer that to the US.
personally, I prefer this one to the American one, but
Yeah, I
they have
think
both.
everyone does. I think even here, we're like, that's not as good as the other one.
Yeah.
Other one looks so
Uh,
much better.
Also, doesn't help that the most Super Nintendo games were made with the color buttons in mind.
Yeah, I don't know
Uh,
why they didn't just use those. They look so much better.
they called the same guy who designed the NES to make the
Oh,
so the they called the guy who made the Famicom look like a VCR, and hey, what can you make of this?
yeah,
I don't know. I don't
bums
know.
me out.
Yeah, but yeah, you can if you have a Switch Pro controller.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
this is like I don't think you noticed this part. Look at the analogs.
Ooh, it's like a GameCube.
Yeah, Octogates.
Yeah,
It's why I got this.
that's really cool.
Yeah,
Wow,
you even got that.
just the noise. Yeah,
Yeah,
there it is. That's really cool. What's
yeah.
the GameCube emulator?
Dolphin.
Dolphin. Yeah, Dolphin. Okay, yeah. Does that work on Dolphin?
You might be able to configure it. Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, you can configure Xbox controllers, and the Dolphin is arguably one of the most mature emulators there are, short of the ones that are focused on accuracy, uh, like the Messen, which is for NES. I think Messen now also does Super Nintendo. You got for the older systems, you are now having emulators focused on accuracy.
Hmm.
So they're no longer doing the things of we're doing a lot of cheap hacks to make it run fast, but things are gonna look a bit sketchy. No, this if it doesn't work exactly like the real hardware, it's damn close. Like here's some ROM used by maintenance technicians to do hardware tests, and we're loading that as a ROM, and the emulator passes all the tests.
That's awesome.
Yeah, for older systems, you're starting to have that. But then
That's great.
for more recent ones, Dolphin, which is not based accuracy based, but it's one of the most mature emulators there are. To the point this is not all that recent, but they've integrated MGBA, which is I think currently the go-to emulator for GBA. It's not just integrated into Dolphin. You can just
Okay.
play Game Boy Advance emulators in the GameCube emulator, kind
Yeah.
of like you could on a real GameCube if you had the GB player.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, Dolphin's a very important one because, for those that own GameCube games, the discs,
and
they're
we.
very finicky. They're yeah, and but with the GameCube, like your disc, if it gets scratched in the wrong place, it could be a light scratch that could ruin the game. And then
That I didn't know of actually.
they're very finicky. The small discs with the GameCube, they could have scratches all over and then work fine. Or you can get like one little light scratch and now it just doesn't work anymore. They're the most finicky discs, and
If it's anything
they
like CDs, maybe it's the case where the data is stored mostly under the label. So any scratch on that, now you're fucked.
yeah,
Because
that's the yeah
that happens with regular CDs too and
yeah
DVDs. The
that
data is
happened with
mostly
uh, King's Knight. What's the no? They're before when from it was one of From Software's early. It's before Dark Souls on the original PlayStation.
something Kingsfield.
Kingsfield. Yeah. So I had
Yeah,
that
one
for
of those.
PlayStation, and the top artwork.
Is it the one that showed that the PlayStation could produce mind-boggling graphics?
Yes. Yes. It
And
was.
then the fucking skeletons.
Yeah. Oh, it was terrible.
It's the kind of thing that you look at it now. It's like, oh, how cute.
It looked awful.
I mean, for
Kingsfield
for the
2,
time, it's when was that released?
1995.
Oh, that's early on the PS1. Let's
Yeah.
cut it some slack. Yeah, it's fine.
So that game, I got a scratch on the top on the artwork side,
Oh,
and it ruined it.
if it's on the top, that's where it can. That's where you can do. That's where you can effectively make it inoperable. If it's on the bottom, that's mostly plastic. Usually it's fine.
Yeah.
Sometimes the scratch can be hard enough. It can be ugly enough that it's not damaging the data, but it's in a way that interferes with how the laser interacts with it. So it you still get you still get some corruption or something. But if it's on the top, usually that's it for the
Yeah,
disc.
it took out Kingsfield, but the GameCube discs, the reason why it's important to have that emulator, you know, continue to be like more
Yeah,
accuracy based is, well, if you scratch your disc, you own the game. If you want to go rebuy it, like those GameCube games are going up in price, up, and scarcity. It's just not only are they going up in price, but it's also like
yeah.
good luck finding another copy of certain games. Like
Especially if it's a niche one. If it's like a Metroid Prime or a Mario Sunshine or a Wind
uh,
Waker, you got those by the bucket. You're
Smash
fine.
Bros.
Yeah. But if it's like custom Robo, good luck.
Yeah,
Good
yeah,
luck finding that. I never saw that. I never saw that on sale. You got to go to eBay or something.
yeah. There's a lot of them that are becoming increasingly scarce, and again with those finicky little discs, if it gets damaged,
That
it's going to get lost to time.
that's why I I know this kind of statement pisses off a lot of people who are into the retro scene, but it's for stuff like this that I defend emulation. It,
Oh, 100%.
it's the best we have in terms of preserving things.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a requirement.
yeah, yeah, we some of us are not going to have the pretty little thingy on the shelf with the label, but a lot of us just want to play the game.
Yeah, it can't get lost to time because you'll have like the other day it was announced that Apple, so they have in
Oh,
their
on the
own
mobile market, we're losing stuff all the time.
there's stuff getting and it's because they were built for subscription services, and then when they get removed, it's gone. Like it's
I mean,
genuinely gone.
remember Stadia?
Stadia as well, yeah,
There was at least one or two games made exclusively for Stadia, and now they're gone.
yeah, and that's it. Like that stuff is gone. So being able to have these emulators for all these different consoles, it's incredibly important.
Yeah,
Can't lose it
it's
with time.
yeah, and even if they even if they want to release them later, okay, fine. But
Yeah,
I'm totally fine with games being constantly re-released. Oh, but they did the way the jump timing on this version is different. Guess what? Little Timmy's not gonna care.
yeah,
Little Timmy doesn't give a shit about whatever speedrun tactics you want. I love speedrunning. I do.
yeah,
It's some
yeah, yeah.
trippy shit.
Oh yeah,
But you just want to play a game casually, just to see what it was about when the game was popular, when people talked about it. You're not gonna play it to do the quadruple backwards long jump to clip through the wall. No, nobody cares.
yeah,
Nobody cares if you can't do it on an emulator. They, ju- they
yeah. The
just
thing is,
they just
you
want to
can,
slap the dragon across the face and save the princess. That's it.
yeah, yeah, 100%. But I think we're going on 2 hours 32 here.
Whew.
Um, it's been awesome. I've really enjoyed this.
Yeah, this is fun.
Yeah. Um, so what I want to do is before we close out, I want to make
Yeah.
sure that we know where to follow you on the
Yeah.
many platform channels that you're on. But before I get to that, I wanted to know if so I can get this edited and good to go and ready to go live pretty quick. Riverside does a lot of heavy lifting, including from the editing side. So I'll be able to get
Oh
this
yeah, you
ready to
mentioned some
go.
things already, like the microphone thing. That's amazing.
It's outstanding, and afterwards, it also uses AI to read through the conversation. Um, it'll transcribe it, and then it'll also find what it believes to be important moments that it'll clip for social media. And then it'll
Hey, good
also,
use for AI.
yeah, it's great. It saves a lot of time, and then it'll change the format to be to fit for various social channels. Um, it does it all automatically. Uh, so that'll be cool. So if there's anything like a specific day or time that you'd like this to be up by, like if you're doing an
Just
announcement or anything.
just about any time, and maybe tag me so I can hit the share buttons and the
Yeah,
retweets. Yes, retweets, Elon.
yeah. So what I'll do is I'll message you 24 hours prior, at least
Yeah, just
24 hours prior, just to let you know.
just shoot me
Uh,
an email. It's fine.
yeah,
Uh,
and so
not I've been tweeting about the game like whenever I have something. Oh, this looks cool. Let's tweet it.
yeah.
There's no schedule here.
No, and honestly, again, it's perfect because you're already getting traction. You're already this early on. You're getting traction,
Yeah,
and people are finding out about it. Like I found out about it for the first time, and the cool thing was like this is the sequel, so people are going to find out about the sequel, and they're like, well, whoa, there's already a version of this. Let me go play that.
yeah. That's why I sometimes on Twitter and like I then reply like, "Hey, yo, give the first game a go if you haven't."
Yeah, it's perfect.
It can only help.
So
In fact, it still hasn't gotten as much traction as the first game got. You think this is
okay,
getting first traction?
yeah, yeah.
Some of the tweets I made for the original, likes in the 5 digits, something stupid.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But not that I'm
The
complaining
more
about the engagement I'm
silliness,
getting.
yeah,
Oh, there will be more silliness. Don't worry
the
about
more
that.
silliness, the more it's going to come,
Don't
for
worry.
sure.
Don't worry. There's gonna be more silliness. Like th- maybe once I finally add the moon again, or whatever else. I don't know. I'm
Have
still
you
not.
thought of doing like a digital art book?
What for this game, like as
Yeah,
a PDF bonus.
yeah,
Maybe I could do
that could
that.
be cool.
Yeah,
Digital art book with the illustrations, whatever, mock-ups,
yeah. Maybe
everything.
I, maybe I could do that.
Like it looks good. So being able to show like early mock-ups, maybe things they end up scrapping, but whatever, just
Yeah,
all of that.
yeah. I'm not against it. There will definitely be more art in this game versus the first one, which was just me adding shit mostly at random. Now it's a little bit less at random since it's doing what I did before, but refined, and then just add more content to it. Yeah, we'll see. That's
What about
something.
like a soundtrack? If do you think you'll have enough tracks for
Oh
the
yeah, that
soundtrack?
I could add that like to, or I can just tell people to go like, hey, yo, go to this folder. It has the bunch of MP3s. Yeah, there's your soundtrack.
Well, yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think
I
that could
mean,
be.
if the music's already stored as MP3s, it's like by buying the game you already have the soundtrack.
That's true. Yeah, but what I mean is like there's gonna be people that are gonna love this. There's always gonna be a minority that are gonna love this more so than your general public that'll
Yeah,
enjoy playing it and they'll have a lot of fun. So giving them a different version, a definitive version, a digital definitive, gives them more cool stuff to like deep dive and be able to. Because if you had like that digital art book where you get to go through and like show off the skirt and then a little blurb of why this was a pain in the ass to put in,
yeah,
like little write ups like that are cool to just read
yeah,
through
yeah.
and it's fun. And then having the tracks organized in a folder for
Yeah,
them.
yeah, that's the thing. If I just tell people to go check the MP3s in the game folder, there, good chance they're not going to be very well organized. No.
Yeah, so but that's the thing. If you just did the soundtrack and the art book, well,
Yeah.
there's your digital deluxe, and you could call it, instead of calling it digital deluxe, obviously you'd call it something else. You'd make it your own.
ACAB
Um,
edition.
yeah, you can call whatever you want to call it, just
I
for
don't
you to
know.
fit, because you're creating this brand in a way. The way that everything is described and communicated, it has its own unique feeling. So there's a brand being built with this that you could kind of like early Devolver Digital, not
Hmm.
as of late as much, but early Devolver Digital. They had this when you would think of Devolver Digital in a Devolver Digital game, you'd have this gut feeling of what that would be before you would even see it. You'd kind of have a feeling of what that's going to be because they influenced that gut feeling, and that was through their exceptional branding. Same thing's happening here with this game, with Buck Up and Drive and the sequel that you're working on. So I think anything that you would add, like even if you had your awards added to it, well, the title wouldn't just be awards. You would call it what you give it within your own phrasing, your own terminology.
Yeah, what I said. Some people don't think it's terrible. You
Yeah,
think, yeah,
that's perfectly on brand. That's what that would be. And the same thing for your digital deluxe. It would be something else that's on brand that all
yeah.
fits in uniform. I think you could easily
Buck
do
Up and
that.
Drive 2 and some more shit.
Yeah, this
I
is the
don't know.
more shit edition.
Yeah,
Um, you could do stuff like that, and
Buck Up
the
and
only
Drive
reason
2.
why,
Buck Up and Drive 2 plus tax.
yeah, yes,
I don't know.
you could do things like that. Because the only reason why I bring it up is because I'm thinking about this launch on Steam, and it's all about revenue on Steam. The wish list number is not as big of a deal. It means
It
something
helps.
pre-launch.
From what I heard, it helps with discoverability.
So the wish list number only helps with discoverability pre-launch.
Mm.
And that's only because it indicates to Steam that your game is going to sell and drive up
Mm.
revenue. Now, if those wish lists don't convert, it doesn't help you at all. Um,
Well, yeah, it means people didn't buy the game.
yes, and so there's a video on this that Valve released a month or so ago where
Oh,
they talk in granular detail of how
I
they
I think I
surface
heard
games
about
to
that.
players.
I
Really
think
good
I
video.
yeah,
Because
I think I heard about that.
like we were talking about earlier, like there are certain things you'd want Valve to do, and this is something that I've wanted Valve to do for a long time is add like because there are always these myths of if you get 50,000 wish lists, you get on the homepage slideshow. That's like
If you sacrifice three goats and a baby, you get the visibility. And
yeah, you always have these myths, and they could have easily just come out and said no, that's wrong. Here's how it actually works, and they finally did. And so in the video, they break everything down, and they show this is
I should take a
exactly.
look.
It's great. I'll send you a link to it.
You know what's funny?
Um,
The game did well, but before release, it had like 300 something wish lists.
yeah,
Not much, but
yeah.
the game still did well.
Well, it comes down to the
Well
initial
enough that I'm
revenue.
making a sequel.
Yeah. Well, so when it comes to when your game launches, at that point, all that's happening is Valve is comparing, or Steam rather, is comparing your game's launch to the other games that it's launching around in that launch window, and which one of these games is
Yeah,
generating the most revenue.
yeah, because there's like a top 10 or something for what's hot this week.
Yep.
It was funny. For that week, excuse me, the original plan was to release it on January 12th. I pulled that to the 10th because guess what was already releasing on the 12th?
I don't know.
Monster Hunter Rise.
Oh,
I'm not
nice.
releasing this on the
Yeah.
same day. Screw you.
Yeah.
I'm
Well, you know
sniping.
what's
I'm bringing this back 2 days. And then
funny.
and then I looked at it at that top 10 for the hottest.
Yep.
Monster Hunter Rise was in first, obviously. At
Yep.
least for a brief moment, guess what was on second place? Look Up and Drive was at
Yeah.
second place. I'm
Yeah.
looking at. I'm coming for you, bitch.
Yeah. Well, so that's the thing, and there's actually an interesting story. I'm going to butcher it, but when Starfield was launching on Steam,
No need. That game butchered itself.
yes, yes.
Anyway,
So, so Starfield was launching on Steam. Pre-launch, everyone was afraid of it. Even Baldur's Gate 3, they bumped their launch up to avoid it. Like they were like, we can't be around that. Let's get our
I
game out
mean,
first.
even in hindsight, it makes sense because it's a big Bethesda launch. I get
Yeah,
it.
100%.
It's funny considering what happened, but
But what happened was on Steam, there was an indie or smaller scale game, much smaller, obviously, than Starfield.
I mean,
They
being
said,
indie.
screw it. Yeah, they said, screw it. We'll launch on the same day as Starfield. And it worked because nobody else did. So what happened was
All right.
they got their fair share of visibility from Steam because no one else launched other than Starfield. You can't just
Oh,
give it all to one game. One game doesn't get all the lion's share. So
yeah.
because everyone else avoided it, so it's more so not about the perceived quality of what's about to launch, it's the quantity of it. So you have to look at your launch day
Yeah.
and how many games are launching on this day
Yeah.
is more important than what's launching on the day. Because if you can launch on a day where it's only a couple games, good deal. Because there's 14,000
Yeah.
plus games launching on Steam every year, and if you can find the day where there's not as many launching, that's not a bad time.
I think I did that. I looked around what else was releasing and okay,
Yeah,
the 10th looks good.
yeah,
How thing is, Monster Hunter Rise was a game that was already on the Switch and was already successful, so it
yeah,
was going to do well on Steam. Like
yeah,
that was a no brainer. It's not like Starfield, where people were like, okay, maybe it'll do well, and then it was the dud that people found out to be. But not so much of a dud though. It still pushed millions.
oh yeah, it's sold plenty. Yeah,
Yeah, if you ask me, they're not going to learn anything. The game sold.
yeah, it sold a lot, and
Yeah,
it was Game Pass day one as well. So like in
yeah,
terms of just raw players, a lot.
like over 10 million players, counting between those who bought the game and Game Pass players. It was something stupid like that. It anyway. They're not going to learn anything.
Yeah.
And I'm legitimately scared for Elder Scrolls 6.
I hope not.
I hope not either.
I hope not, because the
But
Elder Scrolls games are always they're special. Those are
yeah,
ones you don't want to mess that up.
I'm sure you didn't want to mess Starfield either.
So what's difficult about that whole idea is all these space games. It's like they all end up boring in a way. Yeah, space is boring, man. It's like it's a lot of stuff. Like it's a lot of land.
The thing with space is it's cool to get there.
Yeah.
Once you're there, vast. No. See, the cool thing with space isn't space itself, it's what other planets do you have in it.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, we're not going to properly encapsulate the magic of one planet. If you're making a game with one planet, that's large enough.
Yeah.
And then you're going to say, nope, we're going to expand on that to a universe. No, you're not. No, you're not. You can't.
And you're going to procedurally generate everything. Yeah, that's going to look great. I mean, and I say this as a guy who made a procedurally generated game. But the scope is a little...
It's crazy.
You can do something engaging with procedural generation, but when you bring it to such a large scope, like
the universe,
you have Minecraft, for example, but I don't know, for something like Starfield, I mean, it could help if it was like, okay, we're going to procedurally generate it as a base. And then we're going, because they did that, for example, with their other RPGs, with Skyrim. The map was first a procedurally generated thing, and then they tacked stuff on it. That's fine.
Yeah.
But making the whole thing that way, nah. You need some handcrafting here, at least here and there.
Yeah.
You need something.
And give me Miami, Florida. That's good enough for me.
Well, that's going to be GTA 6.
That's what I'm saying. Just give me a city. Give me a large city. You can do some cool stuff.
Yeah, that's Rockstar's bread and it's as people say. It's wide as a sea, deep as a puddle. Something like
100%. Yeah. It's like, give me a densely populated small area.
Yeah.
With a lot to do, and you're gonna have fun.
Which I haven't gotten to the series yet, but it's what I keep hearing about the Yakuza series.
Ooh, Yakuza is very fun. Very fun.
I haven't gotten to it yet. I got that pack. They were selling on GOG. That was like the first 7 games for like $30.
Yeah. That's a fun one.
The first 7 games, like from 0 to 6, $30. Yes, please.
Yeah, that's one where, like, if you just go into it with no expectations and just embrace it for what it is, you're gonna have a great time.
Oh, no, silly. I'm aware of the memes. I know what to expect.
Yeah, it's great silliness. The writing is awesome. There's a lot of side characters that are introduced that are like, what the hell is this, man? I love it. You'll have like a side quest where you stumble in on a room full of grown men executives that are acting like babies in diapers.
Don't diss it till you try it.
It's like, what the hell is happening with the work? But I love it. It's outstanding.
I really need to get to check those out. I mean, I have them. I really need to check those out, and again, it's an example of a game, going by any of them, where it's a relatively small area. It's not even a town. It's like a part of a town.
Yeah.
It's like a district within a town, but it's super packed with stuff to do. Like every court, have you played Shenmue? On the Dreamcast. It's like the...
Oh, yeah. I played all of the Shenmue, 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's like the predecessor of Yakuza, effectively.
Yep.
The way you explore, and it's all also within a region of a city.
Yep. Shenmue is I personally really enjoyed Shenmue. I know a lot of people
I did too, but I will recognize the game is dated as shit.
Oh, yeah.
It is dated as shit.
there was like a forklift minigame
On the first
part.
one, yeah, on the second half of the game, where you get a
Yeah,
part-time job, and
yeah,
they start their shifts by doing forklift races, like to get their
yeah.
spirits up for the working day.
I was fine with it. I embraced
Yeah,
it.
I
Whatever.
wish the real life businesses did that.
Yeah,
The hell with
get
OSHA.
yeah. Enjoy the forklifts. But no, that I played both 1 and 2. Haven't played 3. I started to play 3 because I have it in my library,
Uh,
and it
I
looks horrible.
I got mine refunded during the
Ooh,
Kickstarter
yeah.
because of the whole Epic Store thing. You guys said Steam.
Oh, I
You
didn't know
guys
that they
said
originally
you
said
guys
Steam.
said Steam. What's this Epic exclusivity thing?
Yeah,
Give me my
I've
money
got it on the
back.
Epic Game Store. I've got it, and I played for like maybe 10 minutes. Saw his face, and I was like,
Yeah, I then
"Oh,
saw some videos on it. Yu Suzuki, the director, he admitted that he hasn't kept up to the with the industry since he made Shenmue 2, and it
that's
shows.
insane.
It
That is
shows.
insane. Like, what do you do? What? That's just irresponsible. You've been
Yeah,
out of the game for a while,
he's
sir."
been literally out of the game.
Yeah,
Literally all out of all of the games. He's been out of everything.
yeah. I mean, at that
Like,
point, you need to. Someone should have stepped in and be like, wait a minute, bud. You've been out for how long? All right. This is irresponsible. You're gonna have fans that are gonna come in expecting this. Ain't no way.
if I had to guess, he probably got the George Lucas treatment during the prequels.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we can't say no to him. It's the man.
Yeah.
We can't say no to the man. Yeah, it was probably something like that. And
Yeah.
here's the end result: the prequels and Shenmue 3, by the way. Uh,
He
yeah.
should have been an advisor working with the team behind Yakuza.
Given that he's been so out of the business for that long, I'm not sure if he should have even been doing that. You know what I think he should have done instead? Just release the rest of the story as a comic or something.
Yeah, that would have
Or
worked.
you have connections.
Yeah.
Make a TV show. Make it a
Yeah.
TV show. It's
Yeah,
fine.
there are other ways to tell the story.
Yeah, especially when the franchise is meant to be more of a playable movie.
Yeah,
Like
that's true.
in many ways, it, you have all the side jobs you can do and the mini games and
Yep.
stuff. Primarily, it's meant to be like hell. The second game on the Xbox, at least, I don't know about the original Dreamcast release. It had the first Shenmue with just the cutscenes telling the
Yeah.
story. It can be consumed as a movie, and
Yeah.
the second game is not that different. So they could have done that. Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
the third game did not finish the story, not even close.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Ah.
the story's not finished.
Ah. All right.
We were talking
I
about indie devs taking a long time for
Yeah. I need to go back and play 3. I need to play through 3. I need to watch a recap on 1 and 2 because I've forgotten most of those games. It's been a while.
yeah.
But I'm going to watch a recap on those and then get 2. Actually, I think 3 at the start of it, if I remember correctly, it does do similar to 2 where it shows you like literally a video recap of the
Yeah,
games. I'm pretty sure it does.
on two again, at least the Xbox version. I don't know about the first one. It's an option in the menu where you can watch in a theater mode for
Yeah.
Shenmue 1,
Yeah. Yeah, I
and
remember
it's
that. And
fine.
I played on Dreamcast, so I'm pretty sure it's in
The
the
fir-
Dreamcast version.
the second one,
Yeah, because I played both of them on the Dreamcast, 1 and 2.
maybe.
But 3 might have the same thing, which might be what I'm thinking of.
I
Is the
mean,
video of 3.
if it doesn't, it's on YouTube.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, I do want to get in there and just gut through it. But I will say the Yakuza games, I haven't played all of them. I've played
Yeah,
3 of them, maybe.
what I've seen, I'm sure I'm gonna like them. Not just the gameplay, but also all the
Like a
shirts.
Dragon, also awesome. It's a different
I
character.
know they changed the gameplay to be turn based,
Gameplay is turn based.
but
I love it.
but they made up for. I've watched some of the batshit insanity that you get to see in
Yes.
combat. Some of the summons.
Yes. Oh my goodness. It's
It's you can tell they had fun with it.
Like a Dragon is it might be
Yeah.
my favorite of what
Which,
I've
by the way,
played.
is the actual game of the whole series.
What do you mean?
Yakuza is just the Western name.
Really?
Yep.
So they're all like a dragon.
Yep.
Wow.
Or something like that. But yeah, Yakuza is just the Western name. It's one of those cases.
Weird.
Yeah.
Okay. Very strange. Well, the new Yakuza 7 then,
Isn't that
pretty
the
cool.
Infinite Wealth or what it was?
Ooh, let me look.
That's the one where you have the mini game where you play as an Uber Eats guy on a bicycle?
I have not played Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth.
Yeah, that's the most recent one I think, and
Yeah.
they went ape shit with the mini games. Again, you have one where you are an Uber Eats driver, well, legally distinct Uber Eats. The point is, you're playing Crazy Taxi basically.
Yeah.
It's Crazy
Which is
Taxi with
awesome.
it's Crazy Taxi with hamburgers.
Yeah, and I'm happy that if that's the case that they're leaning more into the mini. I love it because that's my favorite part of the Yakuza games is all the mini
Uh,
games. They're so good.
from what I've seen, they also have a mini game where you're effectively playing Animal Crossing, catching bugs with a net and shit.
Wow.
Like they went full stupid.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
I love that stuff.
You
Again, that's
see, you
why.
see Ichiban just holding a big ass beetle to the camera.
Yeah. No, they
Yeah,
do silly stuff like that, and really all of them. There's just
yeah.
absurd,
Yeah,
you
and the
know.
dance numbers and the karaoke and stuff. And the fact that
Yeah.
you can have a chicken run a casino or whatever that was.
Well, you can even do.
You rescue a chicken and then you have it at the end of the quest. It's in charge of a casino. They
Yeah,
have
there's still,
to. I don't know.
and there's also callbacks, which is cool. So there's callbacks from game to game, where when you're younger, you meet a character that is like at a little how would you say it? A little kart racing scene, circuit racing scene. These
Oh,
RC cars.
oh,
You'll and then later on, as full grown adults, you go back to that same store. It's still open, and that dude is still there wearing the same clothes. He's just
huh.
now in his 50s, and he's still doing it. Like they have all these different callbacks.
That's what I call passion.
It's really good. They're so good. Yeah. So I think you're going to enjoy those games.
No, from
In
all that
part,
I've
like
seen, I know I'm gonna like them. And then there's the beat 'em up combat, which it's
yeah,
just it's just batshit as well.
combat's great. Yeah. And
Yeah.
again, when it switches to the turn based, it's not bad.
You know what's
It's still
funny?
really good.
You know what's funny though? I think this is only from the most recent one. Kiryu shows up.
Yeah, I saw that.
He's play he's
into it.
playable.
I haven't looked into it too great in great detail, but
Yeah,
that's pretty
he's
exciting.
playable as Kiryu. He doesn't play turn based in a
Oh,
turn
that's
based
cool.
game.
That's really cool.
Like if you have him in your team, you play as him. The game
Yeah.
changes to a beat 'em up.
Wow.
They don't give a
That's
shit.
outstanding. That's
Yeah,
outstanding.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's probably how you know that. Yeah, it is the same engine, which is fine so long as it keeps working.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can
100%.
tell they probably still had all the code for the real time comment. How about we reuse this?
Yeah.
It's sitting here doing that. Let's do something with this.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. I love it. I need to go what I want to do is just organize like the right order to play them and just go from first all the way through. Is what I maybe
Yeah.
this year I'll do that. Where I'll just get them all organized and figure out all right. Let's deep dive it. Excuse me. We'll deep dive and just go all the way through. But
No, I also heard conflicting opinions on how to start. Some people recommend actually just emulating the PS2 original instead of playing the remake
ooh,
because
okay.
they've changed some things that were that work better. I don't know.
Okay.
Um I'll have to think about.
That's
I'll
like the
see
Final
once I go.
Fantasy X remake, like just played on PS2 because it genuinely looks better.
Now it's not even a case of looking better; it's the writing as well.
Ooh, okay. So
Uh,
genuine, significant differences.
yeah, there's more than just the difference in visuals. Though there is also some stuff that looks obviously in terms of fidelity it looks worse. It is what it is. It's the PS2. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
But in terms of atmosphere, some stuff in the PS2 original looks better. Like you have some part. I think this was not with the first one, but the three, which was then remastered, or what was it? Some fight you had in a building where in the original you had reflections and on the tiled ground and stuff, and then
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
remaster you had none of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of
Things overlooked.
stuff. But again, if it was just the visuals, fine. But from what I heard, they changed some of the writing as well. So
Yeah.
that's I might give the original on PS2 a go instead. We'll see.
Yeah. All right.
Apparently, they memeified Majima a bit too much on the remake. His presence is a
Okay.
bit more subdued in the original.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But then
Okay.
the community started with the Majima memes, and they figured for the remake, hey, let's put Majima everywhere. Hey!
Yeah. That's what, like, similar with certain movies, like, I'll have to Google and just be like, all right, what's the optimal way to experience this from beginning to end? What's the right, because there's always going to be blogs that, like, this is genuinely the right way to do it. And I'm going to have to go
Yeah,
through and do that.
yeah, like with Star Wars.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
we're, if
Literally with Star Wars.
Might as well go for the ultimate example. What's the best way to watch Star Wars?
Yeah.
So there's this dusty old VHS tape
Yep.
that's before all the crap that George Lucas tried to do. And
Yeah. Same thing with
it's
all the Marvel stuff, too. The Marvel one's insane because then you have TV shows too. You have movies,
oh,
TV shows. You
I
have to
can't.
go. Yeah,
I one big reason why I haven't watched the latest Spider-Man movie, the one of the something home ones.
hmm
They it's whatever something home, the one with the where the three show up. I watched Endgame. I'm like, I'm done.
it's the end
I,
game.
I'm done. I'm not watching anything else. I'm tired.
Yeah,
I want to go to sleep. I'm done.
yeah.
10 years
No,
for this. I'm done.
they've worn out their welcome at this point.
Yeah,
Honestly,
yeah.
like with all the shows, and the thing is, all the shows connect to the movies somehow, and it's
No,
too much. And the
no.
thing is, like there's shows for characters that no one really cares about. So if you want additional backstory, now you got to just watch this crap that you don't care about.
I
And
heard that of the new stuff, at least one division's good. But again, I'm still
yeah,
MCU fatigue.
I haven't watched any of the shows for any of them, but my girlfriend has, and they stay up to date on it. But it's like I
How
can't
does
do
she
this.
do it? How does she
Yeah,
do
I
it?
can't. Like it's just too much. It's too much to think about. And also again, like you said, some you'll hear like, oh, WandaVision's solid, and then you'll hear,
From
oh
what
no,
I
it's
heard,
trash, and then you'll hear like, no, it's actually really good, and then but then you hear that about all of them,
yeah.
and it's just like,
From what I hear, the reason why I heard it's good is that they experiment a lot with visuals
mm,
and the situations where it's very experimental in a
yeah,
way that a lot of Marvel content isn't.
gotcha. I mean, that's
So
cool. I can
again,
appreciate
I don't know.
that.
I haven't watched it yet. From what
Yeah,
little I've been shown, well, I would have to take a look.
yeah. And I'm in the position where like when I watch the movie, more times than I'm probably going to forget what was in the movie. And then now that all the different shows are out, if I don't look up which one to go to first, I'm watching out of
This
order.
show is about this character who appeared in like for like 3 frames,
Yeah, and it's like,
but it's really important in the comics, so we got to make a whole show about them. No,
and it's like
no,
this was in between these two movies, so now you have to make sure you've seen these two movies, or you're going to spoil this, or it's they've gone too deep. They've gone too
they
deep.
the MCU has is has now the same problem as the comics.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's too.
you go tell a normie to go read the comics.
Yeah,
They're not
it's
gonna.
insane.
You
It's
tell
insane.
you now tell someone who has yet to get into the MCU. Oh yeah, here's the whole timeline of the MCU. Good
Yeah,
fucking luck.
yeah, just
Usually,
absurd.
I just tell people to watch the first Iron Man movie and that's it.
You should do this with Buck Up and Drive. You should just make this into the Fast and the Furious to where you're like Buck Up and Drive 28. Just
Fucking hell.
keep them going.
Fucking hell.
Just
There wasn't gonna be a Backup and Drive 2. The idea was
yeah,
the idea was to keep updating the first one, but then the engine thing happened. So now
yeah.
that's the plan for the second one.
You could call the DLC Buck Up and Drive 3 DLC. Just make it.
Or you know what I could do? I could the 1v1 mode is called Shifty Gear.
Yeah.
The fighting game mode
Oh,
is called Shifty Gear.
there's so many fun
In
ways.
Buck Up and Drive 2, it's called Shifty Gear X.
Wow.
I could then update the game and change the game to Shifty Gear X2,
Yep.
Shifty Gear Iska, Shifty Gear
Yeah.
Judgment, Shifty Gear Xrd, Shifty Gear Strive,
Yeah.
and then get a lawsuit.
You could have a lot of fun with it.
Oh yeah,
I
it's the
mean,
game where I can just take the piss.
yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
already did that with the first game. It's just doing that again more
Yeah.
and
No,
using
it's
an
great.
engine that actually lets me do stuff.
Yeah. No, it's great. And even again, going back to that review, there was a review that stood out where they mentioned like they were turning the music off to play Eurobeats.
Uh, yeah, a review on Steam.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw that review. I was like, this is pretty good. And then they unlocked an achievement. They just stumbled on the achievement.
Oh, I already have some of those shitpost achievements planned for the second one.
It's so good.
I'm already doing some. I already know what to do.
It's just fun and it's all on brand
No,
for
like
this game. It's great.
for the character creation, you could, for example, set the trunk to the maximum size and then the thighs, and you get an achievement called extra thick.
Wow,
And the description it just says you know what you did.
that's funny. That's awesome.
Some crap like that. I don't know.
Yeah, you could even do like play on of iconic settings like in Dead or Alive back in the day. If you put your age, because you had to put your age in there for some reason, it was weird. If you put your age at
Dead or Alive's
99,
already kind of creepy. Why are you asking my age for?
I know. So if you put your age at like, say, you put your age at 10, the jiggle physics would be nothing. It'd be, you know. But if you put your age at 99, you put I'm 99 years old. The physics go just crazy. It's just bonkers.
They're slapping their own face with the boobs and everything.
Yeah. So if it was all tied to so if you put in your age 99, I'm 99 years old, then you just get full blown crazy physics. You could have a similar option in Buck Up and Drive for the age
We'll
physics.
What physics?
Well, yeah, right.
What physics?
Yeah, that's true.
You think there's physics in this?
That's true. That's true.
Actually, there are no physics.
Yeah.
It's all arcadey shit. Like
Yeah, and it looks great.
I had some people ask me, "Oh, are you using a character controller or are you using the vehicle node for this?" No, it's just a path. The whole thing's on rails, technically.
Yeah.
Internally, it was like that in the first game, and it's like this in the second one too.
Yeah. No, it looks great.
It's fine. It'll work so long as it doesn't break.
It's fine.
It's fine.
I mean, that's how all games are, though.
It just
just
works.
don't break.
It just works, TM.
Yeah.
Except it just works, actually. Not like what the other guy said.
All right. Well, I think this is probably a good place to end the episode.
Well, 3 hours.
This was great. Yeah, this was.
It was fun.
This is a really fun one. I'm excited to get this one up. There's not much to edit. There's no, other than the two parts that I've already jotted down the times for. and get those removed. But the rest of it is really good. A lot of fun conversation. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. Uh, but yeah, what I'll do is I'll get this edited, and then again, 24 hours or so, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
No
Whenever
later
you
than
have
that.
that, whenever you have, whenever you have that done, again, I'm not picky about when this should go up.
Awesome.
It's great.
But yeah, so I'll get that up, and then I like to spend like the week sharing social content on it for the
Hmm.
week. So we'll get it up probably on a Monday, and then have it run for the week, and just get content out there, and try to get people to.
Monday, yeah. So yeah, I'm not looking at it's Wednesday. Yeah,
Yeah. But
sounds good.
cool. I appreciate all the time, and you know joining, and being receptive. It's a relatively new podcast, so it's cool that you're happy to
Yeah,
join, and get on board. So I do really appreciate it.
yeah,
Um,
no problem. This was fun.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And in the future, if you ever want to be back on, say you're getting close to your demo and you want to chat about it some more, you've got an
Yeah,
open
maybe.
invitation anytime.
Thanks. Uh,
Yeah.
First, I would need to have a demo or either the full game or them. First, I need to get something done.
Yeah, yeah. Any sort of moment. So if you were to do like a Kickstarter too, if you're like, I'm going to run a crowdfunding campaign.
I can't.
Oh, really?
I literally can't. Portugal's
Is
not
it because
supported.
Portrait?
It's not a part of the. Maybe it is now, but if it is, it's very recent.
Yeah,
Though I am in a rather fortunate position in part because of the sales of the first game. I
yeah.
don't need a Kickstarter. It's fine.
Gotcha. Well, the Kickstarter, what I like about it is like you
It's
can
also
use
useful
it.
for marketing.
Yeah, and build a community off of it.
Yeah, yeah,
Even if it
yeah,
fails, even if it fails, you can
yeah,
double
yeah.
dip and then go. Like I've seen.
Again, I can't,
Yeah,
but
I
I
was just talking with a developer. I think they're in Istanbul, and they were like, "We can't." They're like, "We want to,
same,
we can't." Yeah,
same. I
that
mean,
sucks.
I could if I hooked up with a publisher, but that means hooking up with a publisher.
Yeah, yep. And
uh,
if you don't need the publisher,
yeah.
you don't need it.
What was it? Yeah, the whole marketing thing and whatnot. Yeah, I worked for Level 99 Games
Hmm.
with a board gaming company. I worked for them for like 10 years, and most of what they do, they run a Kickstarter. Not just for
Yeah,
that, but also because hey, these are board games. We got to send these to the factory. We actually got physical things to
yeah.
make. This is not just for development.
Kickstarter's a
It's
great home for board games too. Great
yeah.
home for board games.
I've hell. I joined up with Level 99 Games pretty much when that whole thing started for board games. It Kickstarter contributed to the renaissance of board games. They became a lot more
Yeah,
popular in recent years, in no small part because of Kickstarter
yeah, 100%.
and other projects like that, other platforms like that. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. I'm gonna end it here.
I
I'm gonna hit the stop. No, I'm just